Matt White. You're watching Racing-Leagues.com with Steve O'Connor and Troy Allen.
Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Racing-Leagues.com's coverage of the first round of the 2016 Oceania V8 Supercars Championship. I'm your host, Steve O'Connor, and alongside me we have my co-commentator, Troy Allen. Good evening, Troy, how are you?
Yeah, good evening, Steve. It's been a long-awaited time, this mate. Round 1, Adelaide, and these boys get to finally turn some tyres in anger.
Yeah, it's good to see we're finally over the long pre-season. Plenty of things to talk about from pre-season. Hopefully, see if they translate into the real season. We are just in qualifying 1, which is the precursor to the top 10 shootout. We have 20 cars on track, I believe, so it's going to be a dash for the cash, so to speak, to get into the next round for the top 10 shootout. The way it works is the top 10 in qualifying 1 get to run again, 1 lap warm-up lap, 1 hot lap, and then exit out. The lists from 11 to 20 are set by this session. So for anyone new to us, top 10 shootout is up next. There's 9 minutes left of standard qualifying.
I'll tell you what, Steve. I mean, when was the last time you saw a field like this on Racing Leagues? The guys have come out in absolute force tonight, and I'll tell you what, this is going to cause some cracking entertainment.
Exactly, yes, and as we spoke about in the last race, pre-season race, real weather is implemented, so that's something else to watch out for over the course of the season. Doesn't look like any rain today at Adelaide, it looks pretty sunny. So yeah, something else for the drivers to keep an eye on, especially with qualifying. You need to get your lap in and make sure you've got a banker at the very least so you don't get caught out.
Well, that's exactly right, and the European guys, they had their first round this morning, and that was something that everyone was talking about because there was a threat with rain at the Hidden Valley circuit, so everyone got out, put a banker in, and then went from there. Fortunately, there was no rain, but I tell you what, it gets everyone thinking.
Yeah, it was as soon as we flipped over to qualifying, it was the amount of people that started the engines and drove straight out. It was just like the real thing. It was chaos to get out and try and get your banker lap in.
It was, and in a field the size of what we've got here in the Oceania League, team championship for next season is going to be crucial as to where you start in pit lane, especially with running that real weather.
Yeah, exactly. It's something I suppose we haven't discussed before, but yeah, the team's championship will be important. You want the best pit group for your team to get you the best in and out, and especially where the weather's concerned. If you're at the back end of pit lane, and the rain starts throwing it down, you're going to be last out on track, so you're compromised before you even get turned the wheel.
Well, there's that option too, and also on the smaller tracks, if you're at the head of the queue, you're the first one to you've got the biggest attempt to get open track, whereas if you're middle of the pit lane or back of the pit lane, you're not going to have any clean track.
Exactly, so let's talk about the guys that are on track at the moment. Leading the way, we have our current V8 Supercars champion, Rob Herbert, who's running with a 118.7 best lap. And then behind him, we have one of the new drivers, Kurt Koteski, with a 118.741. So it's very, very tight already.
Well, looking at the live timing, Steve, it's actually a 740, so at that point 1 is way back, so these boys are really close up the front.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's really good to see that we've got some newcomers right up the front as well and pushing the established stars. We've got Dave Kinnaman in third position, some 0.294 seconds behind. We have Kai, who for me has really been one of the stars in the finals of pre-season. Joined Team DSA at the last round for the upcoming season. So he's looking like he's in a good place, and the pace is translating from pre-season to today with a 0.324 seconds back.
Well, it's definitely been someone to watch. Kai. I jumped on there today with him and tried one of his setup. Even he actually said to me himself, he's not too sure on how it works and how to get a grip on it. That setup he gave me to trial out, it was phenomenal.
Perfect. And then in fifth we have the first of the all-Australian crew at Team Vegemite, Scott Bainsworth. He's 1.53 seconds back. So we're seeing a little bit of a grouping almost on the timing, so to speak, Troy. We've got the first four showing a clean pair of heels, then we've got from 5th down to 9th, again covered by 2 tenths. Then 10th down to 12th are covered by a few tenths as well. So it's looking like it's stacking up in almost ability-wise, if you like.
And that's the thing, that's the great thing about Racing-Leagues.com is there's someone of every level on the server at any time for race night, and it just shows that you're going to have fun no matter whether you're an alien or whether you're just a guy that likes to throw a car around the track.
Well, I'll tell you what, Troy, last night in the EuroLeague was a perfect example of it. That's my race, obviously. Had a bit of a coming together on the second lap with Bruce from 3rd position. I was running comfortably up in 2nd place on pace in practice, and then I got down the field, and all I could do was make up 2 places. The ability and the pace of everybody, it's quite significant and very, very close all the way through.
And that it is, and that was one thing I noticed last night when I was joining you guys for the EuroLeague is you guys were about probably half a second to a second in front on your own. There was, I think, you and Clark and Sam from ASR. You guys were sort of in a league of your own, but as you said, you had an incident, brought you back to the pack, then you had to try and fight your way through, and some of these other guys have got some racecraft there, and it just made your race start a little bit harder.
Absolutely, yeah. It's great to see the strength and depth in the field. They mightn't have the outright pace, but these guys certainly have the racecraft to make it difficult, nigh on impossible at some tracks for somebody to come through the field. So no matter what skill level or ability you have, we've got something for everybody.
Oh, that's definite. And at a track like Hidden Valley, if you make a mistake, there's very limited places to pass. I think maybe the end of the front straight, maybe into the hairpin, which I think is I think that's turn 4, and maybe if you get a good run down the front straight as well. So realistically, 3 places to pass at Hidden Valley, so if you make a mistake, it's pretty much night over. This is the true meaning of a street circuit, whereas there is no margin for error. If you want to push the limit and you go past that limit, it's going to hurt, very much so. Look, it depends on how they've got their car set up. If they've got their car set up to go straight through that chicane, then yeah, it's going to hurt them because they're going to have to modulate their throttle just that little bit more to get out of there, because coming out of that turn, it's right, then you've got a very short straight into a very fast sweeping, or not sweeping, almost left-hander, so it is putting a lot of pressure on the right-hand side and the rears to try and get the car out of those turns.
Excellent. Give a shout out to our viewers on Twitch there. We've got some Team Vegemite fans and Dan and Scott fans as well.
It's good to have some viewers, and get the word around, guys. Get your friends watching, get your mothers watching, get your brothers watching. This is one thing you will not want to miss. It's going to be an exciting ride throughout this season.
Yeah, get the whole family watching. Although I think from my jaded perspective at times that this is every bit as exciting, if not more so in some respects, than almost watching the real racing. So this is where it's at, guys. Stick with Racing-Leagues.com. So 1 minute remaining of first qualifying, and let's take a quick look down at the cut-off point, Troy. And in 10th we have our GTCC champion Norman Clark, which he's starting to show flashes of the pace in that number 10 Oranga Ford. He's 2.2 seconds off first position, but he's got quite a significant gap back to 11th. 11th is 3.8 seconds, that's 1.4 seconds, excuse my maths, between 10th and 11th. So Norman looking safe for his first top 10 shootout.
Yeah, very much so, and the gap is closing, and we just had Roger now bump Ian back to 12, so the Oranga Racing boys there at 10 and 11, one of them could make it. It could be a case of the other bumping the other one out. That's what you don't want to see as a team, but you take what you can get.
Absolutely, and just for our viewers who aren't aware of some of the team layouts and stuff, Oranga Racing, our father and son team, Norman and Roger. Norman's the father, obviously, so it could be an uncomfortable family dinners following this if one bumps the other one out.
Well, it's a question of who gets the thigh and who gets the breast, I guess, if someone takes the other one out.
Absolutely, which one's the leg or the breast, man? So we've just got Roger on screen now, and he's just come through the turn 8 there, almost flat to the floor. He's carrying a lot of speed through there. This potentially could bump Norman, because we just seen Norman's running slow across the start-finish straight previously, so he's not going to get a chance at another lap. So is this the son going to take out the father?
It's also, it's a case of the master versus the apprentice.
Absolutely, and I would definitely class Norman up there in the master. He's the wily fox, to say the least. He's there when you least expect it, and he'll be there at the end of the season or thereabouts. And here comes Roger across the line now, and no, he didn't manage to bump Norman off, so that is that lap finished. So if we do a quick rundown of our top 10 and going forward to the top 10 shootout, Rob Herbert, our current champion, in first position, carrying 2/10 from Kai Turner in second, so Kai's just made a good lap towards the end there. From Kurt Kateski third, Dave Kinnemund in fourth, Dan Ricard Pavel in fifth, Scott Bainsworth, Vegemite Racing sixth, Chris McCall, Jandal Volvo Racing seventh, Wayne Pengelly from SR in eighth, the second of the Jandal Racing Volvos, Jason Cooper ninth, and the first of the Oranga Fords with Norman Clark in 10th. So those are the 10 people that will go through to the top 10 shootout.
I'll tell you what, Steve, when you get a field this size, the top 10 shootout means that little bit more just to every driver too.
Exactly, and this is the sort of one of the unique aspects of our racing is the top 10 shootout. It really puts the pressure on, so you may have gone out and been the fastest in every section, the fastest in every practice session, the fastest in qualifying. It means absolutely nothing when this session starts. You're back to square one, and as I found out last night when I was running second in the top 10 shootout, the distance between your last lap and the waiting actually plays a little bit on your mind as well, so that when you go out to do your actual lap and you're one of the last ones out especially, it actually takes a lot out of you. You play it that bit safer because you've seen the times already gone down and you don't want to mess it up. And as I found out, I found myself down in fifth from second in the first qualifying, so it's a bit of a skill to this, isn't it, Troy?
It's a very fine art doing the top 10 shootout. It's a balance between risk and reward. I mean, I found out the hard way at Homebush last year in our last event in the top 10, wiping out the front bar on the warm-up lap because just there was no grip room where I put the car, and it was good night, and that was the end of my qualifying session. And you've got to sort of, I guess it's an advantage to be going last in the 10. You know what numbers everyone's pulled. You know how hard or how soft you can go.
Well, that's the thing I found at the flip side, actually. I seen the times come up and I realised where I needed to be, but then I was trying to play the do I play safe enough and do I have enough pace, and as it turned out I didn't have anywhere near enough pace, so I got it completely wrong. So there's that for people who are new to the top 10. Some of the old stagers, the current champion Rob Herbert, I don't think it phases him whatsoever, but some of the other drivers, it's got a tendency to play with your mind.
Yeah, definitely. It's the waiting game. If you're able to compose yourself, it's not going to affect you at all. But then there's some guys that it plays on their mind. They can see the numbers coming and then feel the pressure of, well, can I be that fast? Can I go that fast? And yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Exactly, so we look like we're just going to flip to the top 10 shootout any minute now, so stay with us, viewers. We will bring it to you. There will be, as we said, the format is one car on track at a time. You get your warm-up lap to the start-finish straight, and then you get the lap to put it on the line, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly right. And the hardest part about a top 10 shootout is trying to get the tyre pressure right and the tyre temp right. Now, realistically, you probably want to start your tyres just that little bit higher in pressure because you've only got one lap to heat them up, get them up to pressure. So, not like your normal qualifying session where you can go out in 3, 4, 5 laps. You might find your best lap at lap 4. This one, you've got to if you've got green tyres on, get the greenness off the tyre, get them up to pressure, and go within one lap.
Ah, okay. So, interestingly, we've got our first car coming out onto track now. It looks like the Roger Clark number 10. So, somebody must have just tripped the time and beam, just as we were discussing at the end of the last session.
Yeah, it must have happened there. We've actually got Norman out first. We've got Roger still in the pit bay. But tell you what, another talking point for the new season unveiling is all the teams' liveries. We've got GRC and we've got Oranga Racing. They've gone for a old school, if anyone remembers, the old Ford Cobra 1-2 finish in 74, I think it was. They've thrown back to those liveries with the Moffat cars.
Yeah, it is a beautiful, striking livery to say the least. I do think that we've lost a lot in livery-wise over the years. Some of them are far too busy. This just looks nice and clean.
Yeah, it's a very clean look, and it throws tribute to where this style of racing actually started, where it truly was race on Sunday, sell on Monday.
Yeah, so we've just got Norman coming around at the back end of his warm-up lap now, ready to start lap 1. There's plenty of marbles offline there, you don't want to get involved in that, so he's just coming across the start-finish straight now on the start of his lap and into the turn 1-2 complex, the Senna chicanes. So turn 1, turn 2, cut it nice, 2 wheels off on that one, perfect line through there. Looking pretty solid and fast. Troy, over to you.
Yeah, that section there where Norman's come through with that left-hander, it's very tricky. You're so tempted to get on the throttle early, but if you do, you're going to have a tank slapper. Through here, it's all about rhythm, Steve. You've got to pick your line, brake, accelerate, find that rhythm. That's key to getting a good start to the second sector.
Yeah, I do find those two curbs on the outside a little bit off-putting because obviously there's tarmac on either side of them and you are allowed to go across them, so if you get it wrong, your setup for the straight is all wrong. We're coming through the famous turn 8 complex and Norman is pretty much flat out through there. He's got plenty of room to the wall, so potentially down a little bit of speed, playing it safe.
And that's the thing, Turn 8 has claimed so many cars, whether it be here on Racing-Leagues.com or in the real life V8 Supercars. Everyone knows Turn 8 when you talk about Clipsal. If you don't, then you've never watched Clipsal.
Yeah, and we're just coming up to the finish of the lap now. Obviously he's fastest in every sector as the first driver out. We're coming around the final turn onto the start-finish straight. It's been a clean lap. Doesn't look like
Bruce, I think I've still got you on whisper.
Right out there. Apologies, viewers. There we appear to have some chat bleeding in. So next up we've got Roger Clark, teammate to Norman in the number 9 Ford, Oranga Racing Ford. He's just coming around to start his lap now, round the final chicane. And we're on to the start-finish straight as well, so second of the Oranga Racing cars into the top 10 shootout. As across start-finish straight, stays out to the right as we take the hook into the left for the first chicane, grab 2 tires across, connect the right apex on the next bit and straight up to the back end of the circuit.
Now the crucial part that when starting this lap is that chicane, the first chicane there, it's very easy to find yourself in the marbles trying to get the car back to the right side of the track to make that left-hander. It's very easy to miss it, understeer, and then try and compensate with a bit of extra throttle and end up turning the whole car around.
Yeah, slightly different driving style between the two teammates there. Norman was taking a lot more curb around the back end of the track. Roger's taking a little bit less. We'll save that compromise on speed. We're going through turn 8. There was a little bit more hesitance through turn 8 than Norman did. Be interesting to see what the times are coming up. And we're around the last right-hander at the end of the straight and into coming back onto the home section with the left-hander here and then the left-hand Nissan type chicane. And round the next left-hander by the back of the pits. Pit entry is on the driver's right at this section coming up. And he's ran wide actually, Troy's wide. He's gone on the marbles and out. So he's got it back on. He's lost, I'd say it's at least a second with that. And we're across the start-finish straight now. We'll see what time he pulls up. And he's 0.57 seconds down on his teammate there. Yeah, I'm thinking that was a combination of bit of hesitancy over the curves around the back and then that off on the marbles didn't help as well. So we've got the Jandal Racing Volvo with Jason Cooper on track now. It's through the first set of the centre chicanes, coming back round to the top end of the circuit. He's staying out wide, hooking into the right, staying off the marbles. Plenty of walls around here to get involved in, Troy.
And that's the beauty of this track, that it really does reward the drivers that are brave enough to try and take it on and push that limit. But for the guys that just go past that limit, it really hurts them.
Yeah, this is one of the first times we got a chance to see Jason on track. We don't know a lot about his driving style, but he seems that he's good enough to throw it in the top 10 for his first race, so that's good to see. He's taking a lot more speed through turn 8 than the two Fords did there, so he's in fact he's fastest in sector 1.
Yeah, and that's about a well, it's an average time there for sector 1. You wouldn't want to see anything much slower if you want to be at the pointy end of the field.
Yeah, exactly. We've got to see how safe the other drivers are going to play it as well, but it's all about getting it home and as fast as you can safely in this section, isn't it?
Most definitely. It looks like he could be on track for a 120, maybe even a 119 from Steve.
Yeah, and he's actually at 119.6, he's dropped in there, that's good to see. So we've now got the first of the ASR cars, the KMR 222 Holden Commodore from Wayne Pengelly.
And that's a throwback to the Greg Murphy car of 2003, I think it was.
Absolutely, one of my favourite ever cars. It's very nice to see some of these liveries making a comeback.
Tell you what, some of the guys that have done the liveries and the skins for these cars, they've done a sensational job. And I know a lot of guys are very thankful and very happy to have some of the cars that they've got.
Yes, we've got our Dan Stevens and Bruce Duncan paint shop. Some of these original designs, believe it or not, came all the way back from me in 2003 when we ran them. Show my age there.
How does it make you feel?
It's amazing to see them back on. I was talking to Bruce last night. We had the Caltex Nissan versus the Armbrew Commodore. That battle started originally back in 2001 and it's been going on ever since. So Wayne's just dropped in 2.3 seconds behind there in 4th position, so played it maybe a little bit too safe, would you say?
It wasn't so much safe, he was definitely on it. There was a lot of moments where that rear end of that car was just not connected at all.
Yes, we've got the Vegemite Racing of Scott Bainsworth out on track now. Scott's on his warm-up lap, I believe. My notes did have Chris McCall next. In fact, Chris is on his lap actually, so if we just try and switch to Chris, which we can't seem to be picking up on the feed, which is unfortunate. Don't know whether he's crashed or something on that lap, Troy. Are you able to see him on track?
Yeah, I've seen it. Appears as though he didn't finish the third sector, so I'd say he's actually had an incident there through.
Oh no, it's
sector
just
two.
it's just popped up on the timing, 1.2 seconds behind his teammate. So let's follow the Vegemite Racing Holden. Very nice and clean looking car this, and from what I've seen of Scott so far, he's drives it nice and straight as well.
And that's the key to these cars is driving them straight. That's how you get the speed out of them. And I tell you what, it is Australian through and through there. Vegemite on an Aussie V8 Commodore. I love it, Steve.
I'll tell you what, if we get a yellow flag period during the race, we can discuss the Vegemite a little bit more following last week. I get plenty of Oh, and he almost rolls it coming through that. The car's completely unsettled coming onto the back straight. He's going to lose a bit of speed through turn 8, where you really do need to be carrying more speed.
Yeah, definitely. And that is a very tricky corner, especially those sequence of turns there. You want to try and take some curb, but if you take too much curb, you'll actually end up on your lid.
I'll tell you what, I'll give it to Scott. He had a bit of a nasty entry into the back straight, but he kept it flat through turn 8. You've got to be seriously impressed with somebody who the previous corner of the car was loose, and then you go to one of the most dangerous corners in the world and you keep the foot down.
Oh, it shows that he's back in the car and he's got it set up right where he wants it to be.
He's carrying a large set of them, so Scott comes across there and goes straight into second position, 0.5 seconds down. That was a very, very good lap, to say the least, from Scott.
Not just 0.5, Steve, but 0.005, so there's absolutely nothing in that.
Yeah, exactly, and we've got the second of the Vegemite racing cars of Dan Ricard Pavel on track. So these guys are very evenly matched. It's good to see one of the new teams pop in and get straight up there with the pace at the very least.
Definitely, and that's what you want to see. You want to see a lot of new guys, which will encourage even more new guys to come along, and it just shows that, you know, you might be new, you might not have done it before, but I tell you what, it's a hell of a lot of fun, and this could be you.
Exactly, get going.
But in saying that, Steve, we really actually don't have much more positions left to fill for a full grid.
And Dan Ricard Pavel goes to the lead with a stonking 19.2 laps, so that is very good to see. So next up we should have one of the stars of pre-season, Dave Kinnaman in the 55 Racing 555 Racing Ford Shell Helix car, without his teammate this opening round, as well as the champion Rob Herberts without his teammate as well. Looking good, steady rather than outright fast.
And that's the way Dave drives it. He's a very smooth driver, likes to sort of point and shoot, gets the car straight before he gasses it up, and that's the key to driving a V8 Supercar.
I'm actually a little bit surprised at Dave's pace, considering when we did the pre-season event at Adelaide, nobody's seen this car, apart from his mistake at the end. He was gone for the whole session.
Yeah, it was amazing there, and Dave's punched it in there in second place with a 119.832. So that shows that time there from Dan Ricard Pavel is going to take some beating.
Yes, and we've got Kurt Koteski on track now, one of the stars of the first session there. Came from nowhere, dropped the pace down, looking good, and that car looks well under control and very fast at this stage. So he's fastest outright in Sector 1, Sector 2 time's about to come up.
He's another newcomer that's just came from the heavens and absolutely blitzed it out there and put down some absolute cracking lap times.
Oh, and he's very fast through turn 8. There was nothing left for that car from the wall.
Yeah, I think there might be a coat of red paint from the mirror there left on that wall.
Yeah, he still kept the mirror on it though, so he's potentially got even more pace if he can unleash it, but this is looking very good, especially a guy in his first top 10 shootout as well. He's looking calm, controlled, and he's carrying the speed.
And he's got some cracking set times through there. He could be on track for a 118 here as well. Whether it's going to be a low 18 or not, let's see.
It's the attitude of that car through some of the corners is he's just wringing its neck. And yes, Troy, 118.862. So what can our V8 Supercars champion Rob Herbert from SRT do about that?
It's really thrown down the challenge to Rob there, so he's going to step up his game.
Yeah, Yeah, so here we go, and I think we've Kai was missed out of the top 10 shootout, a little bit of a technical hitch with the car, but I believe it's going and should be maybe the last car out, so Rob might
He's on
not.
track now, Steve.
Okay, so Rob mightn't be the last car out.
So we've got Kai there, he's made in the top 10, so
Here
again,
we
there's a
go,
few
yep.
guys that have
Yeah,
that have
Kai
made
is
their
just coming down.
debut in the top 10.
Yeah, Kai's just coming down the back straight into turn 8 on his lap now. Not as fast as the the Kirk Kateski car in sector 1 or 2. So looking on for at least a third position here potentially.
Yeah, yes, definitely. He's probably 2 tenths down that first sector. I can't see a time for the second.
Yeah, he's a 48.4 in the second. A little bit of oversteer in a few of the corners there. I believe it's costing him time for the looks of it. A little bit of lock up into the final corner. Across the start finish straight, and he should be popping up any minute now with third position. There you go, I called it. Got our champion on track coming down into turn 8 on his hot lap. 23.9 in the first sector. Second sector time's about to come up any second now. So 48.5 for with sector 2, so we're into sector 3 now.
Yeah, so he's down on that first sector, so let's see what he can make up in his back 2 here, Steve. That car does not look planted in the rear end at all.
No, not at all. But that's the way Rob likes to drive it, loose as fast.
Yeah, but could that be a sign that the champ's feeling the pressure from all the newcomers?
I don't know, talking to him in the week he hasn't even noticed the newcomers, so second position there, which reflects what happened at Hidden Valley as well, where he had the outright pace and then for whatever reason was down in the top 10 shootout. So there's our top 10 is set for the grid. We have Kirk Kateski in first position in the 888 car, Rob Herbert in the number 1 Jägermeister Nissan, Dan Ricard Pavel 0.338 seconds behind the first of the Vegemite Holdings, Kai Turner in the team DSA Holden Commodore 0.5 seconds back. David Kinnemund, our pace setter from pre-season, is almost a second off the outright pace in the Shell Helix 555 Ford Falcon. Then Jason Cooper in the first of the Jandal Volvos is 1.1 seconds back. Scott Bainsworth in the second of the Vegemite Holdens, 1.1 seconds back in 7th. Chris McCall in the second of the Jandal Racing Volvos, 2.3 seconds back in 8th. Norman Clark, the first of the Oranga Racing cars, in 9th, 2.73 seconds. The second of the Oranga Racing cars, 2.786 seconds back in 10th. And 11th due to the technical issue with the Kai car, Wayne Pengelly from ASR with 3.435 seconds back.
Yeah, there's quite a spread there across the top 10, but I'll tell you what, Steve, we've got the, what is it there? We've got the top 5 covered by less than a second.
It's good to see. It is good to see. So let's see if we can get our top 3 down for the post-race interview. So if you want to pop yourself up there, Troy, and grab them. I'm not sure which one Kurt is. It might be Coyle.
We'll see what we can do.
Okay, just drop them down. So viewers, that's the top 10 shootout over. Next up is the warm-up session where they get 10 minutes to do whatever they need to do before the start of race 1. So hopefully we'll have the drivers from the top 3 cars should be down here shortly.
Okay.
User was moved to your channel. User was moved to your channel. User left your channel.
The viewers will just bear with us while we get the third place driver in.
User was moved to your channel.
Good evening, gentlemen. You're live on Twitch. Congratulations to the top
User joined your
3.
channel.
Rob, from Dan and Kai in third position. First to you, Rob. How was that? Actually, it was second position, I believe you finished.
That's correct. Yeah, no, I think it went really well. I was probably a bit overcautious in the first chicane because you obviously got to keep two wheels on the tarmac. So I thought I'd rather play it safe and get there or thereabouts. I'm pretty sure I started on the left-hand side of the track as well, starting from second, which is potentially better anyway. But no, it'd be good. It was good.
Okay, so yeah, an interesting start there. So Dan, I believe it was you on pole.
Say again, sorry.
I think I'm third.
Oh.
And you got Dan coming in third there. Sorry, second.
No, I think who was on pole?
I
Dan?
think I qualified third.
Yeah.
Not sure who was on pole.
Kurt put it on pole, but he's not on TeamSpeak, so he can't talk to us at the moment.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, so Dan, first race of the season, you're right up there. How was the qualifying for you?
Yeah, pretty good. I think I got lucky with the chicane on that lap. I'm usually pretty dodgy around there, so pretty happy with that. And just gonna see how the tyres last for the race.
Well done, congratulations. And Kai, since we don't have the top place driver in, you came in fourth, I believe. How was it for you?
Yeah, I didn't go as good as I expected, but just tried to keep it on the track and yeah, came in top 5.
Yeah, so the top 10 shootout's a bit of a unique feature, isn't it? Some of the drivers, it puts the pressure on at you and the wheel and the track all on your own. Did you feel a little bit of the pressure?
Yeah, definitely, mate. Especially this track, one mistake and it cost you vital positions.
Yeah, exactly. One mistake in this, you'll be starting in 10th. So, congratulations to the top 3. Well done, and have a good race. And if all being well, we will speak to you following the conclusion of race 1.
Thank you, mate.
Thank
Enjoy.
you. Thank you.
User was moved out of your channel. User was moved out of your channel. User was moved
So
out
Troy,
of your
we
channel.
have the top 10 set. The grid is ready for the main event. What should we be looking for in this main event?
It's going to come down to tyre degradation, I guess. Who can make the tyres last underneath the car? I personally don't see a problem with everyone going non-stop in the first race. It's just going to be a case of who can maintain a quick enough pace while preserving the tyres as well. And the spot to look out for is going to be that turn 1-2 chicane area. Start of the race, usually there's mass carnage.
Okay, so for our viewers, race 1 consists of a 24 lap race. There is no compulsory pit stop. By compulsory pit stop we mean that you don't have to pit if you don't want to. If you wish to pit, you are quite welcome to pit. And we are running both compound tyres at this track as well. So we've got the soft compound, which gives more pace but obviously doesn't last as long overall. And we've got the hard tyre, which gives you less pace but should last a hell of a lot longer. So race 1, Troy, I would think, especially from driving last night, the soft tyre should be able to deal with the whole race, shouldn't it?
Most definitely, but unfortunately we're only running a hard compound at this round, Steve, so
Oh, I thought it was
should really see that.
both. Sorry, my mistake, yeah. There's been a huge accident warm-up. We've got 3 cars rolled over there, so I hope they get it out of the systems before the actual race.
Yeah, they need to, because to tell you what, that can cause mass carnage, especially when you get everyone bottlenecking the in the turn 1 and 2.
Exactly, so if I take my foot out of my mouth again, so this race event we have only got the hard tyre or the wet tyre if it rains. The hard tyre should have plenty of life in it but less pace than the soft obviously, which doesn't really matter since we're not able to run the soft here. So there should be no tyre issues, all being well for the first race, which is 24 laps, and as we said, no compulsory pit stop, so if you want to pit you can, but there's no regulation saying you have to pit. Race 2, however, is slightly different. It is a 40 lap race, so quite significantly longer there, Troy, and there is a CPS with a reverse grid start. So all of the finishers will be reversed, so the person who finishes within 2 laps of the leader, I believe, will be the person who starts on pole, and the leader will go all the way down to the back of the grid.
And that's one of the fun things about a reverse grid is throws just the cat amongst the pigeons and sees what these fast guys have got in the way of racecraft.
Exactly, and as I said, there is the compulsory stop in race 2, so some strategy will no doubt be come into play, especially if you want to try and get yourself up the front, or if you're up front and you want to stay up front. You might have a completely different strategy for the guys starting down the field, who in this case will be the faster of the drivers as well.
And that's exactly right. Now we've got quite a few of the guys out there on warm-up. Now it's interesting to note whether they're out there trying a race run just to see how the car is in full race stream with full tanks of fuel, or how light the fuel load it is, and just try and get a feel for the car is what I've been doing right now.
Yeah, exactly. So warm-up time-wise really means nothing at the end of the day. There's only 3 minutes left, but it's good to get out, feel the car on full fuel, and see how it's handling, get yourself set up for the race.
Yeah, it's basically just feeling the balance of the car, making sure that you're happy with the race. Realistically, the only thing you want to probably change here is maybe your anti-roll bars. Any other major change, you can't rectify that mid-race.
Yeah, just for our viewers on Twitch, we've got a couple of people seeing the wreck there and slightly concerned. We do have 2 live race stewards. We have 2 stewards in the event as well who will be dealing with any issues on track as well. So penalties will be issued and served within the race, unless it's too late for the race and might be applied into race 2. We also run full weather and full yellow flag system as well, so if there is a major incident, the track will go yellow. No passing, same as normal motor racing, and everybody is expected to keep the pace cars pace. One thing with ours is the pits are open from the minute the pace car is called, so you can pit and get a little bit of a strategy advantage if you're just in the right place on track at the right time. So just something to bear in mind. So there are race stewards and there are full motor racing rules, yellow flags.
And that's what makes this league one of the greatest, is we abide by everything, and now we've got race stewards monitoring that turn 1-2 chicane. So where you used to be able to maybe sneak 1 or 2 here until after the race when we go over the replay, now you're going to suffer the consequences live during the race. And that's just another thing for the guys to keep in the back of their mind, just making sure that they don't jump that curve. And that's an unfortunate side effect of online racing here, when you've got so many guys that are from all over the world just to be a part of this league.
Yeah, totally.
I think that marks the end of warm-up there, Steve.
That's the end of warm-up, and just I think my mic has switched itself off again at some point. Track cut rules are 2 wheels on track at all times, apart from this track where there are 2 curbs at the back end of the circuit which have tarmac on both sides. We are not including them as there's no real gain, so you can run across them, slows you down on the exit, or you can go slow in and miss the curb and you're faster on the exit, so up to the drivers on that one. So that's the end of warm-up, I believe, so we should be getting set for the race within the next couple of minutes. I noticed I've just restarted warm-up, probably just to get a few of the drivers a little bit of a briefing beforehand from the stewards. We don't have the stewards on our channel because there's too much information coming through, so we'll try and filter and give the viewers what they need.
Yeah, it's always good to have a link there with the stewards, just so we can let everyone know what's going on, whether there's a drive-through or whether it's been deemed a racing incident. It just adds a different dimension to the broadcast.
Yeah, it is good to have the feed. I'm not aware of many other leagues that run actual live race stewards, but it does give that extra reality type of dimension to it. The drivers are a lot more behaved. They don't go for the unrealistic gaps, and any incidents are dealt with as fast as possible.
And that's the thing, it just keeps everyone on their toes and gives you a cleaner race, which gives you a better racing experience. Seem to be having a few technical difficulties here, Steve, with a few of the guys.
Yeah, I believe there's a slight issue with one of the cars, which has a little bit of a HDR issue with this mod. Obviously it's something unique to sim racing, so some of the drivers are having to go out, switch HDR off and come back in. Hopefully that will be complete very soon.
And that's all just teething issues with the new mod, and because this is such a fresh mod and we are now at round 1, these things will happen from time to time.
Yeah, Troy, that's true, especially it's the first round of the season as well, and some of the drivers haven't been with us earlier in pre-season, which is unfortunate, but a little bit of teething problems. We'll see what happens after that.
I'll tell you what, Steve, I am itching to see these boys unleashed in anger and just see what the season, this could be what we're looking forward to for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and just to our viewers, we've got 14 of you watching on Twitch at the moment. We will shortly be moving to race 1, so stay tuned. Just as we said, there's a little bit of a technical hitch with some of the drivers who have got the wrong settings switched on coming into the game, so they're just popping out to change that setting and back in. As soon as that's complete, we will go to race 1. Obviously with 20 drivers on track, it can be a little bit difficult.
Yeah, and I tell you what, it might be difficult getting everyone organised, but once they're on track, it gives you a hell of a race.
Totally, I'm just posting up the YouTube channel for where this race will be uploaded following the conclusion of this. If anybody can't stay along for the whole event, you can catch up where you left off.
That's always a good thing too. You might just have to go and grab something to eat or a toilet break or something, and pulls you away right at a crucial point of the battle, and you don't want to. You want to know what happened. Did he make a pass? Was there an accident? Was there a mistake? And at least with the YouTube upload, you can go back and watch it.
Yeah, and on we've got our Twitch chat up as well, chatting with Brussels there. If anybody else has any questions or issues or things they want to raise, by all means type it in there and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. We'll try and answer you on air. So feel free to throw some questions at us, that's what we're here for.
It's always good to hear from the viewers and answer some of their questions and even take on some of their feedback.
Totally, and you never know, one day you might get yourself out on track with us as well, and we'll be broadcasting you live.
It's always something to look forward to. I mean, this is probably the closest a lot of guys will get to racing. I'll tell you what, it's damn good fun and nowhere near the price tag of a real life racing car.
Okay, and just for our drivers, I know our drivers usually watch this following the conclusion of it on YouTube. Guys, please read the instructions on the website before you come in, and we can avoid issues like this. Our live viewers are wanting to see a race, and instead we're having to wait on you guys to get yourselves together for information that's been freely available for the whole lead up to pre-season.
Yeah, it's first round teething issues, Steve, so now that the guys have got it underway, let's just hope that we don't have any more of these issues throughout the season.
Yeah, so yeah, guys, keep an eye on the events. They do tell you what format the race is going to be, etc. and anything else that you need to know before you jump in. So the stewards have just informed me we're within a couple of minutes of going to race, so I think the switchover has been completed for most of the drivers.
Obviously that's been their pit stop, their comfort stop, drink bottles topped up, everything ready to go.
Okay, Troy, I'm just going to make contact with the stewards and see what's actually happening. We'll get back to you very shortly.
No worries.
Okay, so we just got the Mercedes. It's good to see the Mercedes entered for. They were missing most of pre-season, but it's a beautiful looking car and it sounds immense as well, Troy. Yeah, so finally got some Mercedes on track. As we were saying there, it's really good to see all of the marquees represented on track, even though we've lost them from the real V8 series, which is a total shame. But it's good for us to have some of them on track as well. All the cars are very well balanced, so there should be no inherent advantage apart from driver preference and team preference as to which car gives the outright pace.
And that's it. They're supposed to be evenly balanced, with chassis being a control item now in the V8 Supercars. Drag efficiency set to a standard. So they're all supposed to be the exact same car, but realistically, the teams do have their own control over certain parts that they build, manufacture and design for themselves.
One of the things that struck me, obviously being based in Europe, we don't have any of the Holdens or the Ford Falcons or anything like that, but we do have the AMG E63. In fact, I see quite a lot of them there. Some of the pool cars at work, believe it or not. I work for Aston Martin, and we've got an AMG, have a slight shareholding in us. But it was the sheer size of the E63. When you see it on track, it looks significantly smaller, at least to my mind, to the Falcon and the Commodore in particular. But it looks like a big car to us Europeans, so we can only imagine the actual physical presence of those other cars as well. They must be huge, right?
Look, the Commodores are a big car. They're quite a roomy car, but don't sell yourself short there, Steve. Over in Europe, you do actually have a version of the Commodore. It's the Vauxhall VX R8 Bathurst Edition, as you guys call it.
Yes.
Which over here is what we also know as a HSV, which is a Holden Special Vehicle, which is the pinnacle of Holden.
I have had the pleasure of seeing them a few times, but they're as rare as rocket horse poo over here, unfortunately, which is such a shame as well. We have seen the guys on Top Gear, which is popular all over the world, but is a bit of a cult following over here, the UK Top Gear, and they're huge fans of the HSV, or the VXR as it's known over here as well. One of the best cars they've ever driven, apparently.
Look, they're a great car, and I think that was actually the VX series model, which I own myself personally. I have a VX with a V8 and a VE with a V8, and they're exceptional cars.
Okay, so I believe we're going to be going to race in a minute. Just having a little bit of a chat with the stewards to see what's happening.
Tell you what, Steve, it's like the rumble before the storm. You just really want it to start.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Let's see what's happening here. Okay, guys, once again, we apologise. There's a little bit of delay here. It does appear that it's down to drivers not following the protocol that they were advised before the start of the race, and now the stewards have to sort out the grid.
It's just one of the many quirks, I guess you could say, about online racing there, Steve.
Okay,
Just
so
to
give us a second there. I'm gonna pop up and see what's actually happening. So just bear with us for 1 second. Apologies for our viewers, but we will be underway shortly.
Channel switched.
Mate, I'm still trying to. I'm just loading too. So.
Okay. We need the grid run, mate.
No, just no. My computer is absolutely screwing the fuck up, and I don't know why.
Yeah. Same.
We got some ads we can show them, Steve.
Well, it was me, but as I say, my R factor is just completely fucking up, and I don't know why.
Right, language, guys, language, because that's coming through on commentary.
I've joined the service, Steve, but again, I don't see my name in the lineup. Coil. Yep, I see 17 drivers. See the server.
Does it work, mate?
Exiting the pits. I'm still in server, but it says I left. I can change the settings or garage. Just...
Well, thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
somebody admin up to super admin, and we're good to go.
Can't, still loading.
Okay.
Right, and we're going to go straight into race, Steve.
Okay, so yeah, I'm out of the way. Get Bruce in and make sure you're good to go, yeah.
Channel switched.
Okay, apologies viewers, we had to intervene myself there to get it sorted. We should be good to go anytime now. The last of the stewards is coming in. So normally it's a lot more organised than this, guys. Really can't apologise enough to everybody. There's too many issues. Drivers, when you're watching this after, please read the instructions before you join, and we don't have to intervene on this scale.
Yeah, and that's it, you know, I mean, this is all a learning curve for everyone here, but it just really does make things a lot better and flow easier for us if we can get everyone on the same page. And
Beautiful.
Here we go, Steve. Everyone's getting ready to grid up.
So, let's do a quick run through the grid, a refresher. It's been a while since everybody else has seen what we've got. So we've got Kirk Koteski, one of our brand new drivers, on pole position, from our reigning champion Rob Herbert in second position. Kai Turner, one of the real stars of pre-season in the leading DSA, holding Commodore in third position. Dave Kinnaman, the guy who turned up in Adelaide in pre-season, dominated, disappeared, and then contrived to lose himself the second race while in a massive leading position, is in fourth position. We have Jason Cooper in fifth position from Jandal Racing. Scott Bainsworth, the leading Vegemite Holden, in sixth. Chris McCall seventh. Norman Clark eighth. Roger Clark 9th, William Pengelly 10th, Ian Hannon 11th, Johnny Fawns 12th, Darren Goosey in the second, and DSA Commodores 13th, Gerald Hartfield in 14th, Nick Winkler 15th, somebody who didn't read anything in 15th, Backfire, 17th Ian Campbell, 18th Benjamin Roon in the Merc, and Dan Ricard Pavel, I think, is starting out of position, unfortunately for him, in 19th position.
Yeah, a bit of a shame there, but obviously these things can't be helped. And tell you what, Steve, it's great to see 19 V8 Supercars out on track at Adelaide here, getting ready to absolutely light the streets up.
Yeah, it's good to see the cars on track. That looks like the number 5 Xbox Ford Falcon around the back there. I know it's not Gavin Cox, so somebody has picked the wrong skin potentially from the looks of it.
Yeah, that has been happening a bit. I did notice in practice that all of a sudden there was 4 DSA cars out on track while I was out there running around with the boys.
Okay, so we're coming round towards the back end of the circuit. We have Kurt Koteski in the lead in the number 1 Red Bull Holden Commodore. Kurt is leading them round from Rob Herbert, our current V8 Supercars champion, in the number 1 Jägermeister Nissan, and then Kai in the DSA Holden next. So yeah, it's good to see the cars finally making their way to the grid. Apologies again to our viewers, but we should have some action shortly. So key thing to watch out for here is turn 1 and the run in. You cannot go side by side through turn 1, so there is quite a short distance between the start to the first chicane, so just watch out for that, and hopefully there won't be too much chaos.
Cold tyres, cold brakes, cold brains sometimes, Steve, equals disaster.
So, exactly, Troy. So, finally, season 2016 Oceania V8 Supercars series by Racing-Leagues.com is ready to go. The last of the cars are lining up around the back. We should be hearing the lights any second now. Quite a big grid to get lined up as well, so it takes a little bit longer. Our current and defending champion on the inside in the Jägermeister Nissan from our new guy Kirk Koteski on pole. And the engines are revving. And off we go. And Kirk Koteski's got a great start from the Jägermeister Nissan, which slots into second behind. And behind that, we look like we've got the DSA Holden from the 5 Racing Shell Helix Ford Falcon.
There's cars run everywhere in the chicane, Steve. Everywhere, cars.
Oh dear. Yes, we're just focusing on the leaders at this point, so let's have a look back and see what's happened. So yeah, we've got people round everywhere. So one of the Volvos and the Falcon are round. And we've, yes, gone full course yellow. That's no surprise to see that. Full course yellow.
looks like we've got Johnny Fons, Ian Campbell, Darren Goosey, 3 cars involved there, and as we said, turn 1, that chicane will always create some interest.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate there. Just trying to see what's happening. All the cars are making their way back, so it looks like everybody appears to have got going again, apart from perhaps the Ian Campbell car. But yeah, it seems to be up and running now.
Yeah, he seems to be back up and getting it scooting around, and unfortunately that's just one of the side effects when you get yourself at the back end of the grid. You're more likely to be involved in some kind of a mishap.
Yes, that's a little bit unfortunate there. Some reviewers have asked why the Dan Ricardo Pavel Vegemite car is at the back. Unfortunately, we've got no information for that at the moment. If we do find some, we will let you know. A little bit unfortunate there. He did qualify very well, and we did notice it on the way to the grid that Dan was out of position. Not sure what happened there. Could be a technical hitch, either race control side or the other side.
But in saying that, it's given him some practice for a reverse grid, and he's already made his way up to 11th, so cracking start there from him, Steve.
Yeah, and I've just noticed the Kurt Kateski car there has got a shift on to catch up to the safety car, but Rob Herbert is leaving it a little bit back. There's a little bit of a rules infringement potentially there for Rob. You are supposed to keep within a couple of car lengths, although it's not documented in our rules package, so maybe something that the stewards need to reiterate to all drivers at some point.
Yeah, definitely. I think you need to set it that the cars must be grouped in a tight formation, because otherwise there's no real point to the safety car coming out, because no one gets a benefit from it. Yeah,
totally. Yeah, some of the cars are running a bit slow there. Kai is a little bit far back now, so the Rob Herbert car has finally caught up to the Kurt Kateski race leading car. Good start there from Kurt and Rob. Did look initially to me like Rob got a little bit of the jump, but the Kurt car just kept the foot in and pulled nice and clear, and they were able to slot in together before the chaos behind. So the first 5 or 6 cars, it was an excellent start at what is a very tight track to get going off.
It's a very tight track, and you haven't got a lot of time between when you get started and when you're making that first turn, and so it's crucial to get that start right and get it off the line.
Thanks, and one of our Twitch viewers there has just posted up there was a technical issue. Dan from Vegemite Racing, he disconnected briefly during the warm-up, which meant he wasn't able to resume his position, unfortunately. Yeah, it's just one of those things in sim racing. We don't really have the mechanism to move the driver. Well, especially when we had to reformat the whole grid due to the other issues. Normally we would have been able to move the driver back, so for future reference, if we get any of our drivers, please let us know, and we'll do our best to get you moved back into position.
So any question for tyre longevity or fuel load for this race? I think that's just gone out the window now, Steve, with this yellow flag stint.
Absolutely, and as we said before, if any of our viewers have got any questions for us on the series, the cars, the drivers, or anything else you want to know, feel free to let us know. We're watching your chat feed live as well, so just jump on there and get stuck in.
But in saying that, Steve, it does appear that each lap they do behind the safety car, the lap to finish does increase by 1 lap.
Yes, we have set that. I think it does up to a maximum of 5 laps would be added on.
Righto.
Yeah, I think a lot of the rail series, especially in the touring cars these days, are using that mechanism. So we do want as much racing as possible. So hopefully this flag, I would imagine that all of our yellow flags, by the way, to our viewers, are a minimum of 2 laps, and only after 2 laps can it be cleared by the stewards. So with everything looking clear, I imagine this lap they will clear the yellow flag, and we will be back to racing on the following lap.
It definitely brings everyone back to level pegging for the start. I mean, although we only had, I think, a quarter of a flying lap, not even.
I'll tell you what, Troy, that safety car driver should definitely be in this race. He's not hanging about.
It's a Corvette, Steve. You know, they're one of the fastest GM cars around.
Yeah, and he's not hanging back at all. It's causing the rest of the field a few issues to get back up to speed. But there is the bonus side of that as well, as your tyres aren't going to be cold. you're going to have plenty of heat in your brakes, and you should be good to hit it from the next lap.
Well, that's it too, and you're not going to run the risk of overheating your engine because you're running at such a slow speed.
Totally.
One thing with this mod, Steve, was the fact that they actually had temperatures brought into the fray, and you actually got to monitor your engine temps because it can become a factor later in the race.
Exactly, yes. There's also, obviously it doesn't really matter too much for this race, but some races the weather will jump in, and when you're under a safety car as well, you get your tyres cooled too much and the track throws it down. Can make for some interesting times.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, one thing you really don't want is stone cold tyres and wet track as well. That really then throws the cat amongst the pigeons.
Okay, so just trying to get some information back from the stewards. The yellow flag should be cleared, and should be cleared on the next lap round, so that's the next lap. As we've just got some feed from the stewards there, they're just watching some of the replays of what went on in the first section, hence why the longer yellow. And I've just had the feed from the stewards as well. The Ian Campbell car is going to get a stop-go. Obviously he was involved in that incident and potentially pulled up by the stewards as the cause of the incident.
And that's the advantage to having stewards here, is the fact that we can actually see what was the problem, what caused the issue, and we can actually then punish to suit.
Yeah, so we should be right on our last lap of yellow flag. We should be going green. Yes, it has come up on the race, as you can see at the top of your screen, everybody. Last lap. That doesn't mean last lap of the race. That means last lap under yellow. So we should be green this time around.
And take two, Steve, for tyres being turned in anger.
Definitely, there's quite a significant gap back there from one of the Oranga racing cars back to 13th position. So some of these guys really need to get on it and understand the safety car. They're losing far too much time for no particular reason whatsoever, so they need to get on it.
There's also that, and probably the aspect is nobody anticipated there being a safety car and put a set amount of fuel in there and haven't allowed for those extra laps that we're now able to run.
Okay, so looks like the safety car is accelerating off. Kurt is back in the field up a little bit behind the safety car. Safety car peels off into the pits, and we're going to go green this time round. We're exiting the final corner. The number 1 Jägermeister Nissan is tucked under the back of the 888 Red Bull car, and we're off and running once again. What an awesome sight, coming down the start-finish straight over the centre chicane into the next apex. The Red Bull car is trying to stretch its legs through there. The Rob Herbert car is sticking with it, and the DSA car is there in third with Dave Kinnaman in fourth. A little bit of oversteer on the exit there for the 888 car.
Yeah, tyres have cooled off, pressures have come down, so it's going to take a lap or two for pressures to stabilise and tyre attempts to get back up there.
Yeah, and there's what we talked about earlier, the curbs on the exit of these with the tarmac on the far side. It's up to you whether you want to go over them or not, and we've seen a perfect example of going over them can actually be a drawback. It unsettles the car, and that 888 car looked a bit unsettled, and the Jägermeister Nissan is right now under that rear wing coming down into the turn 10, I believe.
Yeah, it's turn 9 actually, Steve.
Turn 9, yeah. I'll get my counting right yet.
Yeah, no, look, and this is going to be an interesting battle here because these two have been separated by only thousandths of seconds. So we've got two of the best drivers in the league going out at hammer and tong.
Yes, and we're on to the second lap of green flag racing now. Everything's looking clean between everybody. There's still that little bit of a gap between the top two drivers. It's 0.457 seconds at the moment. They both just clipped the inside of that chicane there, and they're both running exactly the same lines through here as well. So it's tough to see how Rob Herbert's going to get round if he can.
I'll tell you what, it shows just the quality of driver here because it's really hard to run this pace and hit your marks with your apex and your braking marks when you're tucked under the rear wing of another V8 Supercar.
Yeah, your view is completely obscured as well, and both cars gone over the curb there a little bit. Both looked unsettled on the exit as well, so we're getting the toe down the back straight now, heading towards turn 8. Both cars are about the same gap apart as previously, 0.56 seconds. I do notice that I do notice the Rob Herbert car takes a tighter entry line in there as well into that turn 8.
That's the risk he's taking there, because the problem is if you click that inside curb, you're wall bound, and that's been the cause of so many incidents at turn 8 where we've seen it in the real guys over the years.
Just on board with Chris McCall here. We've had a little bit of an off-track excursion, I believe. Just back up and running now. Let's see if we can see anything. I think it's just coming into the last corner. A little bit of oh, he just cut the track a little bit there. So yeah, if we go back to our leading battle now, it's 0.7 seconds back, the Rob Herbert car from the lead car.
Yeah, and these guys are going to be hard to catch. They've taken off and they're in a league of their own.
Yeah, they've both clipped the wall in the same position there as well. I'll tell you what, SRT, who are our 3-time V8 Supercars teams champions as well, I've had a bit of a frightener for the last 2 events. The European League last night, their 2-time V8 Supercars champion Brett Clark was defeated in the first race, won the second race. And here we've got a similar situation. We've got a new guy who's turned up, he's very fast, and he's putting one across the current V8 Supercars champion, Rob Herbert, in the SRT Nissan as well.
And that makes the leagues that much more entertaining. You're not going to have your, let's say, Formula 1 style, where Sebastian Vettel dominated for year after year after year, race after race after race. Here, we've got a new guy come in, and he's already taking it to our champion.
Yes, and then some as well. He's looking pretty clean as well. And we have got the new tyre model on these cars as well, which has got a lot more longevity in it, and they're on the hard tyre as well. So previously we know SRT have had a bit of advantage in looking after their tyres. That's going to be somewhat nullified from here on in, isn't it, Troy?
Pretty much. I mean, you've got the guys that can make the soft tyre last, which was one thing that you saw in the pre-season with Dave Kinnaman, I think it was, did a complete stint actually here at Adelaide on the soft tyre, and everyone was in awe. Now, the fact that the new tyre model has got the durability of tyres extended, you're not going to be as surprised to see, 25, 30 laps even out of the set of soft tyres.
Definitely. So with 8 laps in the book, we'll do a little bit of a through the field quickly so we can catch up to where everybody is. So in first position we have Kurt Kateski, one of our new drivers in the 888 Red Bull Holden Commodore, leading handsomely from pole position from our current V8 Supercars champion Rob Herbert in the Jägermeister Nissan Altima from SRT. They're both very close, 0.8 seconds between the two of them. Then another one of our new drivers, Kai, in the DSA number 408 Holden Commodore, leading Dave Kinnaman, who won the first race here in pre-season and dominated the second race until he made a mistake. So Dave looks like he's struggling a little bit with the new tyre as well, and maybe that little bit of advantage you did discuss earlier, Troy, with looking after the soft tyre appears to have gone.
It could be, Steve. It could be that, or it could just be Dave hasn't come to grips with the track temp or conditions today, and because we have noticed that Gavin hasn't been around for this round either. Whether they spend enough time together. Oh, there's been an incident between Kai and
So
and Dave Kinnaman.
What's actually happened there? Yeah, can't actually get the replay. It's not working properly there. Did you see what happened?
It appears that it could have been either lag, Steve, or it appears that Dave Kinnaman has gone into the rear end of Kai Turner.
Okay, the stewards will obviously be looking at that one, and they've got better replays than we have. Apologies if we can't get that up. So Dave Kinnaman, Jason Cooper took advantage of that one and is now up in third position with a handsome lead over the Dave Kinnaman car now. Potentially some damage being carried by Kinnaman. But good to see one of the Volvos heading up north as well. It's our first viewing of the Jason Cooper car, the team boss from Jandal Racing. It's good to see Jason on track. What have we seen from him so far, Troy?
He's pretty consistent there, Steve. He's on his marks and definitely doing what he needs to be doing to keep the car in a straight line and be competitive.
Yeah, exactly. It's good to see. So, first of our Vegemite Racing holdings. Do you think it's going to be a little bit of a favourite team of ours, Troy? Because it gives us plenty of discussion every time. Is the Scott Bainsworth car in 5th. Unfortunately, his teammate qualified well up as well, but due to technical hitch, started from the back. Nice to see a completely new sponsor and a completely new look to the season as well with this team.
Yeah, definitely. And I said it once, I've said it twice, and I'll say it again, Steve. But it's just so Australian. A V8, a Commodore, and Vegemite. There's nothing more you can say, really. Okay,
viewers. So if you're out there watching, give us a vote out for the Vegemite Racing team. Obviously something none of us who aren't Australian understand or even have a clue what it is, but it's a nice looking car, and from the looks of it, both of them are pretty damn fast as well.
Definitely, they've definitely put some time into their liveries, and definitely put some time into their track speed as well, because it's one thing to have a great looking car, doesn't mean it's going to be a fast car, but these guys are definitely putting the foot down and making a statement.
Okay, so we got it live from the stewards. The Dave Kinnaman and the Kai Turner incident is a lag incident, something unique to sim racing. We're getting the shout outs for Vegemite. We have 3 individual shout outs for Vegemite. Well done, guys. Good to know you're listening. Yeah, so it's a racing incident that will be deemed as, so no further action taken by the stewards on that. A little bit of an unfortunate consequence of some racing. Sometimes you do get a little bit of a lag and a car appears where it actually isn't, and it causes an incident. So good to see both drivers got going after that. So one of the drives of the day here for me is Chris McCall. We discussed him not the last pre-season round, but the round before. He's just been making steady progress. Last week's pre-season event in Melbourne, I think we can discount, to be honest, Troy. There was a lot of anomalies, shall we say, in the pace of the drivers. It seemed like a bit of a unique track, so we discount that. Chris has made steady progress all the way through, and he finds himself in 6th position now, and looking pretty good, and he's after that Vegemite.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned the pace from guys last week and throughout the whole pre-season. You had drivers that well, one that's missing tonight, in fact, is Dan Stevens. His pace last weekend was missing, I guess you could say, considering where he'd been in the previous races over the pre-season.
Okay, so yeah, that brings me to a very interesting point. The pre-season, we noted that Dan Stevens, who's the SRT Nissan teammate of Rob Herbert, so normally right up the front or thereabouts, we did make the discussion that it did look like Dan had a terrible pre-season, was pretty much off the points. But when we were setting up for the Sportsman Championship, which we'll discuss a little bit later, Troy, a little bit of an incident there in the Jandal Racing car of Jason Cooper is around. That's unfortunate, from 3rd position. Unlucky there, yeah, but it looks like he's back up and running there, hopefully. Let's see if we can pick it out.
He's still trying to get it out of the wall there.
Oh, he's having an absolute nightmare. Yeah, let's see if he gets going. Come on, Jason, get her in gear, get it off the curbs. You can hear the crowd are going mad there as well. They're all cheering for it. Come on, let's get it going.
Just going back, watching the replay here, Steve, it seems as though he may have come in a bit too hot into the turn 1 chicane and just, I think, pretty much straight lined it.
He's lost a lot of positions there. So yeah, we were just back to our original discussion there with the Dan Stevens, and we thought that he was way off the points, way off the pace. We did the points to check who qualified for the Sportsman Championship, which is we'll explain a little bit later on to our viewers. Dan actually won the points championship if there hadn't been a points championship for pre-season, Troy, believe it or not.
Wow, that's amazing, considering that it was one round there that was an absolute disaster for him. But it does prove the old adage that consistency wins championships.
Absolutely. So it's unfortunate Dan's missing this round. However, there is a unique sort of rule. Game in sim racing, not everybody can make every round. So we do have a rule that if you're a premium member, that's members that actively support the site and league and contribute to it financially as well, we give them a little bit of a special bonus. They're able to nominate the next round, and the points for that goes into the kitty twice to cover the missing round. So Dan will be racing for double points in the next race, which is a bit of a give at some aspects, but in other respects, if you're taken out or if you have a bad second round, that's 2 rounds destroyed. So let's see how he approaches the next round. But we'll continue through our field. Kai Turner back up to 6th position after that incident with Dave Kinnaman, looking pretty good. Norman Clark is the lead Oranga Racing Ford Falcon, the number 10 car there. And you did discuss this at length in the run-up to qualifying about let Norman being steady but being there when it counts, and here we are, we're 14 laps in and he's already up to 7th position.
Yeah, obviously he's put the head down, eyes forward, not worried about what's going on behind him, and just concentrating on getting the car up there.
Totally. And in 8th position we've got one of our long-term drivers, Ian Hannon. He's the lone GRC Nissan Altima this season. I do know Ian is looking for a teammate, so if you've got the pace and you're looking for a car, contact Ian after this race. Looks nice this year, this car.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The guys, everyone in general has gone to an extraordinary amount of effort to get their cars looking good for a new season, and really put a big front foot forward and show that we are one of the premier leagues here in online sim racing V8 Supercars.
Absolutely, yeah. And behind him we have the recovering Dan Ricard Pavel. Dan unfortunately qualified well up the grid and was in the top 10 shootout due to a technical issue. He started well out of position at the back. Bit of a masterful drive here, to say the least. He's got himself up into 9th position, 34 seconds behind the lead. He's making the move on Ian Hannon. Ian's no slouch though, you're going to have to do a little bit better, Dan, than that. So very, very good drive. I can't say enough. He's done well, he's kept it clean. There's been plenty of incidents at the back. Dan's come through it all and is right up there, which bodes well for his ability through the reverse grid races as well, Troy.
And that's one thing I alluded to with the unfortunate mishap that he was put to the back of the grid. It gives him a bit of practice there for the reverse grids that are notorious for creating a lot of action in this league. Yeah,
well done, Dan. Good to see one of our new drivers up there. So he's looking at the back of the Ian Hannon Nissan. Ian's just cut that corner a little bit there. It'll be interesting to see if the stewards pull that one up. So we move down to the lead, ASR Holden, the Kmart car. These guys are running a two-car team here, ASR with Wim Pengelly and Colin Burns, and in the European Series as well they're running two cars with team owner Bruce Duncan and one of the new hot guns of the series, we say, Sam Markham, in the Rockstar Energy ASR car. They've got a good setup, looking for the Brock Cup though, don't they?
Oh, most definitely, Steve. And I'll tell you what, this is the ASR guys. They're going to be a team to watch out for. If they can just find some consistency and work together, they'll put the pressure on there because, well, as we alluded to with the Dan Stevens situation of winning the points championship through pre-season there, consistency is what's going to get you a championship. You don't have to be a front runner. If those guys consistently finish within the top 5 to probably 7, they're going to be a real force to reckon with for the team's championship.
Definitely, and to our viewers there, we just referenced the Brock Cup. The Brock Cup is the 3 rounds at the end of the season. So we have a European V8 Supercars series, runs on Friday nights 19:30 GMT. We have this series, the Oceania V8 Supercars series, which runs obviously 20:30 NZT on a Saturday night. And for the 3 final rounds of each series, both series join up for 3 enduro rounds, starting with Sandown 500, the Bathurst 1000, and then the Gold Coast race to finish off the season. Both of these races are full endurance races, so 2 hours plus per race, 2 drivers per car, so there are driver swaps. So the teams with 2 cars in the European Series and 2 cars in the Oceania Series definitely have an advantage because they will have 2 entries on the grid with 4 drivers. So ASR, one of these teams, they've got 2 very fast guys in Europe and 2 fast guys in Oceania as well. It's good to see that they're setting up for the end of season and looking good at this point as well.
Yeah, well that's it. You want to start sort of getting your idea on where you're going to be for the Enduros now, because it's too late when the Enduros roll around. But just talking about the Enduros, Steve, it's well known amongst the guys here that you'll be competing in the Brock Cup due to your commitments in the Euro League.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be at the wheel of the number 96 Caterpillar Caltex Nissan Altima with my teammate Brett Clark. And our other car will obviously be the Jägermeister Woodstock Nissan Altima with Dan Stevens and our current V8 Supercars champion Rob Herbert on board as well. So yeah, we've got our eye on that as well. And to be honest, one of the things is Brett and myself, we want to beat the Dan and Rob car no matter what. Brett's obviously got 2 V8 Supercars championships to Rob's 1 V8 Supercars championship. You never know, by that part of the season there might be another title each added to it. But I know both guys are hell bent on beating each other, and I definitely want to get one over on Dan. Dan, if you're listening, I think I've got the pace and you're going down this year, so let's get it on.
For all them fighting words in the team rivalry, and that's the great thing, you know, when you've got 2 cars with 4 fast guys, really the best way to measure yourself is against your team.
Exactly. On the flip side of that as well, we've also got the DSA entry as well. Obviously you need one more driver to make the 4-driver team. So if anybody's out there and you got some free time towards the back end of this season and you're fast enough, we're looking for another Holden driver so that Troy can jump in as well, and then we can have proper elbows out sessions.
Yeah, look, it'd be great to run the DSA car through the 2 DSA cars through the Rock Trophy, but realistically, I've got to sit back and have a look, see where we're at. But there is also the possibility that I could jump in with Ian Hannon in the GRC, providing he doesn't find a second driver.
Oh, excellent! Yeah, that'll be good news for the series there to have everybody out on track as well. So, yeah, so that's our season highlighting final 3 rounds, which will count towards both championships. I think we're just getting something through for the stewards with the Ian Hannon car off, and the Wayne Pengeli car as well followed it off. So a little bit of an incident there that caused a few issues. So just keep an eye on that, make sure they're both back on track. It looks like they are. Chris McCall has dropped down to 11th and is out of the race from the looks of it. That's a bit unfortunate.
He did take a very, very big impact there into the chicane where he's come out of that turn 2 section there, which is what I said, it's very dicey where you get wide on the marbles and he's just plowed it straight to the wall at about
he's
160 odd k an hour.
He's actually, apologies, he's shown back up on track now, so he got up and run. He's down in 7th rather than that, so he's got Dan Ricard Pavel, who is serenely making his way through the field, is now up to 8th position. That's pretty impressive drive there.
Yeah, definitely is. Now, if we go looking at the front there, the gap between Kurt and Rob actually blew out to about 2 seconds there, and now it's down to with half a second. So could it have been Rob, conserving tyres there and making a charge at the back end of the race?
Well, let's just keep an eye on this battle for the lead. Actually, yeah, they're glued together. It did spread out as we went through the field there a little bit. Apologies to the drivers that we didn't get to. We'll get to you for race 2 because you'll be up the front. Yeah, the number 1 car is right under the back wing of that Red Bull Holden Commodore. There's 10 laps remaining, so has Rob decided it's time to get going?
Yeah, well, it also could have been a fuel conservation mode as well, because as I alluded to at the beginning of the broadcast with the safety car, not really aware that you were adding laps for every lap under a safety car, so a lot of these guys were going out with the bare minimum fuel to get them through 24 laps. Now they've got to stretch that to make it 29 laps.
That's an interesting point you make there as well, Troy. Something we need to reiterate to the drivers, so safety car laps will be added on to the overall race distance, so just be aware of that for future. But I think everybody should make it through safely, hopefully, but we'll find out in a couple of laps, to be honest.
I can tell you straight up now with the Kai Turner DSA car, we ran simulated race runs today, so we didn't actually put extra fuel in that car.
Okay, something to watch out towards the end. Kai's down in 5th, 39 seconds off the pace following the lag incident. So yeah, we do have the battle at the front. Let's see how this gets resolved. So, as we do with every round, Troy, stick your helmet on, jump in that number 1 Jägermeister Nissan. What are you doing?
Right now, Steve, I'm probably just sitting back and observing Kurt's car here, trying to get a read on the body language, get a read on Kurt, where his strengths and weaknesses are, and trying to compare him to where my strengths and weaknesses are, and try to plan probably 2-3 laps ahead of a, 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 if you can't find it, then there's no point in trying to force it to happen. Or break yourself.
Yes, we're on board from the helmet cam view. Yeah, and a little bit of an incident there for Rob. The car's looking pretty twitchy, to be honest, I would say, from what I can see on board.
I'll tell you what, Steve, Rob's really had to push himself through this race. Kurt's really taken it to him and stayed out in front and shown a clean pair of heels.
Okay, and it looks like traffic is going to be looming up in any seconds. Going through turn 8 with the Rob Herbert car avoiding the wall on the inside and the exit. Getting down, he's trying to make up the pace to get back up to the Kurt Kateski car. And you can hear the brakes there a little bit. The tyres are obviously starting to suffer a little bit at this late stage in the race. And Kurt's got a lot of oversteer and corner exit as well, so it's going to be a matter of getting yourself up there if you're Rob, and then finding a way around on this very tight track. And Kurt's dive for the pits. That's a real shocker.
Wow, pits. Wow,
is it fuel?
It's got to be fuel, Steve. I think it's come down to a lot of guys were not prepared for this, and I've just heard over the DSA team radio too that Darren Goosey's in the same situation. Oh, he's parked it. He's parked it, Steve.
What has happened? That's really unfortunate. That's a real shock.
It's interesting. Could it be a commitment in home life or something of that nature? But he was well and truly on the way to a race win.
Yeah, so we've got the Rob Herbert car out in the lead now, and this is the last thing that I know Rob, one of my drivers for SRT, obviously it's the last thing Rob ever wants is to win a race by default, almost. He was setting himself up for a good battle there. It's really unfortunate what's happened to Kurt there. He's still in track from what I can see.
The car has been covered, pulled over it, up on the go jacks, and I think they're getting ready to put it into the trailer.
So is that a technical issue, or is it something, because he doesn't look like he's left the server? So really unfortunate. That was going to be a dominating win, or at the very least it was going to set us up for a hell of a finish to the race.
Yeah, it definitely would have been one hell of a race to watch to the end there, but judging by the way that he's pulled the car into pit lane and then parked it up, I'd say it's a home life issue interfering with his racing, unfortunately. Okay,
so as Rob Herbert has got 6 laps left to the finish of the race, we'll see if fuel comes into it for Rob as well. Just looking down the pit lane, we don't have anybody who's actually pitted that is still running, so nobody's felt it necessary to jump for fuel at this point, so we'll see how it plays out. So Rob Herbert in first with Dave Kinnaman 24.9 seconds back in second position. Dave not quite showing the pace that he did in the pre-season event here, where he turned up and disappeared off in the distance and nobody could get anywhere near him. Kai Turner has made his way back up to third position following that incident earlier. It's good to see Kai has benefited, albeit from the unluckiness for Kurt there, but he's getting himself back up to where he needs to be.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's always winners and losers in every situation. But I'll tell you what, one big surprise back here is Norman Clark, Steve. He's got himself into the top 5 and really driven a solid race.
Yeah, I don't think it's much of a surprise. We both know Norman quite well at this, and he's going to be there at the finish. We said it at the start. We're a few laps away from the finish, and he's up in 4th position. But I tell you what, what's in 5th position? We need the Vegemite shout out.
Come on, Vegemite, we'll get behind your car, because I'll tell you what, he's in the slipstream here, the Oranga racing car, and it could be a dive bomb move here into turn 9.
Now that's a drive of champion right there, all the way from the back up to 5th position. He's taken his advantages where he can, and he's made it cleanly all the way up through the series, right on the back of Norman Clark. 4th position is a distinct possibility. 3rd position, get that, 3rd position is definitely on the cards with the pace that this guy's carrying.
Yeah, just looking at the last lap speed, he's almost a second and a half quicker than Kai Turner in 3rd place, so he gets himself around Norman Clark with little bother. He's definitely in a position.
He's got a big crash on the start-finish straight from the Wim Pengelly car, which has gone straight in the wall, bounced off and got going again. Tyres must be suffering on that car.
Yeah, tyre dig, obviously with a few moments here and there, you can can overheat these hard tyres. They don't like overheating or being pushed too hard on a continuous basis, and they're very hard to get back under control once they start to go away with temperature.
So we've got the battle looming large here for third position. Kai Turner currently holds third position, Norman Clark in fourth, Dan Ricard-Pavel from Vegemite Racing in fifth. Dan has made his way right from the back of the grid on sheer pace and ability all the way up here. I don't think third position is safe for anyone by any means at this moment in time. However, he's got to deal with the, what should we call him, the wily fox Norman Clark, our GTCC champion, who's made his way all the way up to fourth. He's not an easy man to get round.
No, me personally, Steve, I haven't had the privilege of racing against Norman since he's found the pace in supercars, because when he first came into the game, he was one of the guys at the back that was just trying to get a feel for the car and get a feel for setup, and was definitely one that you were lapping on a regular basis. But again, it's great to see that the guys like the Norman Clark that's come from nowhere virtually and plugged away and got the car into this kind of a situation.
And we've got a shout out for the masked man, the mercenary, Scott Bainsworth in the second Vegemite Holden, who's just behind his teammate there as well. So both cars doing very well, looking good in the team's championship.
That's a very, very strong position to be in. When you've got two cars that finish that close together up the pointy end of the field, it really does provide a good haul of points for that team's championship at the end of the season.
I'll tell you what as well, those two drivers together for the Brock Cup, that'll be one of the front running cars for the looks of it.
Definitely, they seem to be equal in their pace. Now, the thing with online racing leagues and everything of that nature is car setup. Each driver has a different feel for the car, different what they want to feel in the car. So if you've got two guys that like the same thing in a car, which as an example is myself and Kai Turner, we've got exactly the same feel, what we want out of the car, and you get two guys that have the same thing in common like that, you're going to have a very good, quick endurance race car.
Okay, so 3 laps to go. That's 3 laps to go. We've got the Dan Ricard-Pavel car on the back of Norman Clark looking for 4th position. Third is slipping away slowly. If he's going to go, he's got to go this lap to get around the Norman Clark car, but not the easiest man in the world to pass.
No, definitely not, and it's created a really good battle at the end of here. It's, third place is still up for grabs. It's anyone's game. You've got 3 cars, possibly 4, especially if there's a altercation between the 3 cars that are vying for third.
Yeah, so where are you going to make your move? Is it the end of the straight? Get a good run out of turn 8, get it set up for turn 9 on the inside?
I think it's crucial to get a good run out of 7, get a nice flow through 8, and probably try and break as late as you can into 9 and make a move there. You see, Norman's wake up to that. He's already moved the car straight right. Great driving.
Yeah, he's just showing that he's not going to let it happen there at the very least. So good pace out of Norman. Pre-season was a bit of an up and down at the very least, but he's switching it on now when he needs to.
Yeah, most definitely. Now you could look at that there from Norman in 2 ways. It could be yeah, okay, you've let him know that you're not going to give it up without a fight, but also it's you've broadcast the fact that you are going to take the defensive line. So it could be a case of Dan will just feint right, you go right, and all of a sudden he's still left and makes the undercut.
Yeah, he's running out of laps rapidly to make a move. He really needed to make it on the last lap, but he's taken the wider entry to get the better exit out of this corner as well. He's just showing him enough of that Holden badge in the rear wing of that Falcon to try and unsettle him a little bit as well. There's a lot of psychology that goes into this as well to try and unsettle a driver, and he has managed to unsettle him as well. He's made a terrible run out of that, and he's turned in late across the nose of the Vegemite Holden there. Looked like Dan was trying to get a good run out of that one, but he got cut out.
Yeah, definitely, and that is one of the names of the games here. I mean, I know myself this morning, my heart was racing, my palms were sweaty, and it was a whole nervous sensation being involved in a battle with yourself actually in that first race, and then chasing down Thor Johnson in his Volvo in race 2.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you planted that car everywhere that I did not want it to be, so there was actually no physical way of getting around that car at all, and this is pretty much what's happening here as well.
It's exactly the same. It's a carbon copy almost, Steve. And you see that Dan's trying every piece of racetrack to find a way around him. And realistically, that's playing more into Norman's hands than it is for Dan's.
Okay, so we're on the final lap. We've got Rob Herbert 22 seconds out in the lead. We're going to focus with this battle, which is kicking off properly on the final lap as well. Dan's not happy settling for 5th position. He's going for 4th, and look at that. He's taken every alternative way around the corner. He's trying to go around the outside. You're not going to get around there, unfortunately, my friend. But you make it down the inside. No, he didn't. So he's...
The key here, Steve, is getting a good run here out of turn 7. He's got to get a good run out of here. His last chance really is turn 9.
So what's that run like? Oh, he's right up the rear wing there as well. So he's going to have to go the long way around turn 9, I would imagine, due to what Norman's been presenting him with. His only option is to go the long way.
Or he could go the double feint right, go back left, then go back right.
No, it looks like he's going the long way.
He's covered well and truly.
That's experience there from Norman. He's just parked that car.
He's got a great drive.
Yes, and we're going to cross-star finish out. The Vegemite car realised he doesn't need these wheels anymore, so he's going to come back with the steering wheel or the position.
Norm parks it. He's
wide. It's a run to the line. It's a run to the line. And has he got the drive off the final corner? He doesn't. That's unfortunate. That is a drive of the day there from Dan Ricard Pavel at this stage for race 1. Certainly well done to all there. And Norman Clark, you're not going to beat Norman that as easy as we'd like. So
no, you're not, mate. I'll tell you what, that was one hell of a battle, especially that last
Ian Hannon out of fuel. Yeah.
Heartbreak. There's always one every week, Steve. But just on that battle there with Norman and Dan, reminded me of the moment. Jamie Whincup and Scott McLaughlin coming in the final turn there, actually at Adelaide.
Yes. That was a hell of a battle, and we had it on track here as well. So we should be getting set for race 2 shortly. There will be a 10-minute warm-up, so everybody can go take a toilet break or get some food or beer or whatever gets you through your race. So stay with us, guys. Race 2 is a 35-lap race with a compulsory pit stop, so there'll be plenty of race strategy out there as well. Thanks everybody for watching so far. Glad to have you with us, all 16 of you at one point. So welcome to Racing-Leagues.com, and hopefully we'll bring you some action from race 2 very shortly. So stand by. We'll be back in a second. We'll leave the live feed running, so just keep an ear out.
Are we off, Steve? Are we off the air, Steve?
So guys, just getting back to it now. Stay with us, race 2 should be along in a second. Troy, you still with us? So we'll just get the post-race interview underway. So we'll get Rob Herbert, who was in first position, down.
User was moved to your channel.
Hi Rob, we're just getting everybody ready for the post-race interview. Just give us a second.
User was moved to your channel. User was moved
Okay, so I've got the top 3 with me, who were Rob Herbert, race winner, Dave Kinnaman was second, and Kai was third. So Rob, race win there, but it didn't look like it for most of the race. Not sure what happened to Kurt, but a win's a win.
Yeah, I'll still take it. It was a bit of a pity because we're having a good battle. He certainly had pace, but I was a little bit worried about overheating the tyres, and I could see as the laps kind of went on, he seemed to be getting more and more sideways and a bit more ragged sort of as we started getting into sort of high teens laps, 18, 19, wherever it was. So, and then I got quite close to him, and all of a sudden he pulled off into the pits and then left. So I don't know what happened there. It was a bit weird. It was a bit disappointing because even though I was second, I was really enjoying it. So
yeah, we did note that that's not the way you want to take a race win, but as we say, a win's a win. So it's a little bit unfortunate. But tell us about the fuel situation. Troy mentioned it in the commentary a little bit that with the safety car laps being added on, that it potentially caused some people some problems. We did sort of allude to that you might be holding back a little bit, trying to manage the fuel until you were sure you could make it to the end. Was that the case?
Yeah, I had tons of fuel. I put about 15 litres more than I needed because I had a feeling there'd be a safety car, so I planned for that, and it worked out.
Excellent, well done. Congratulations on the first race win of the new season. A good start to defending the championship. Dave Kinnaman in second position. Bit of a struggle, Dave, to get right up to second. You just didn't have the pace you did at the pre-season event here. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I don't know that my pace has dropped off too much, as we've got a couple of faster guys in there. Naturally, Rob's returned, who we know the pace of, but Kai and was it Kurt, both in rocket ships, mate. They're very fast drivers.
Yeah, so how were the tyres for you over the whole session? We alluded to the change in tyres for the mod for this event as well, and you seem to have unlocked the secrets of the previous tyre with being able to keep the soft on for a whole race. Obviously we're not using the soft this time, but what was the tyre life like?
The tyre life was fine. These new tyres seem a little bit more interesting. They heat up very, very quickly, but they don't have the same wear rate as the last ones, so I feel like you're more likely to have an accident than you are to run low on tyre wear.
So is the enforcement of the chicane rule in turn 1, 2, is that actually causing more heat into the rear tyres? Because obviously you've got the heavier braking and then the lateral loads going through that section, whereas before people were just jumping over it. Is that adding to the issue?
It definitely causes potential for overheating in turn 3. If you're spinning up the tyres when you come out of bumping over the rumble strips, and then you go around that fast left-hand kink, you've got the chance of going round if you just keep your foot planted with wheel spin.
Excellent, congratulations on second. That's a good haul of points to get the season off and running. Kai in third position for DSA. Well done, Kai. Good to see that you made it back up there. There was a little bit of a lag incident earlier in the race, which was unfortunate when you were in front of Dave. How was the car for you after that?
Yeah, unfortunately we got together there with a bit of lag, but afterwards I didn't notice any damage. Just tried to get back up there, and yeah, ended up in what was it, third, I think.
It's third position, mate. You're on the podium for your first official race, so good haul of points there as well. What's the plan for race 2? Obviously there's a compulsory pit stop, and you're starting right down the back, all three of you. I suppose this one's 2. You're going to have to come through, so what do you envisage the strategy going to be for that?
I'm not too sure yet. We'll have to roll the dice when it comes, I think.
Fair enough. Dave, Rob, what about you? What's the plan with tyre and the compulsory pit stop when you're coming through the field?
I'll have a compulsory pit stop. I'm not going to tell you when it's going to be, and we've got to be very careful.
Fair enough. Dave, I assume your answer is now going to follow exactly the same.
I think I'll be pleading with Biff and playing it by ear with what may happen with safety cars and what have you.
Brilliant. One thing before you go, we have noticed that there's it's been very clean all the way through the field. There were a few incidents. It's obviously going to be a little bit more difficult to try and get through the field. We certainly noticed that last night in the European League, that if you got caught down the back, it wasn't as easy to get through, especially with a tight track like this. So do you envisage any issues, or are you just going to get on with it?
I think here it's you've got to be aggressive to pass around here, but you've got to also weigh up is it worth it, and maybe play more of the strategy game. But it's who knows. And once you have a safety car or something, it can just throw the cat amongst the pigeons. So I think, like Dave said, you just got to play it by ear. Just got to take it as it comes. I don't think you can plan for these reverse grids.
Excellent, thanks guys, and hopefully we will speak to you at the conclusion of race 2. So well done.
Thank you.
Troy.
User was moved out of your channel. User was moved out of your channel. User was moved
So yeah, apologies Troy, I just took the advantage there to give our viewers the post-race interview with the top 3 there as well. Nobody will give us anything on strategy and force, so we're going to have to do our best to explain it and work it out for everybody.
And when have they ever given us a heads up?
Nice.
They've been known to play their cards very close to their chest, and
yeah, don't get caught playing poker with Dave Kinnaman or Rob Herbert. They're not giving anything away, and nor should they, but we'd be remiss in our duties if we didn't ask the question. But we will try to keep everybody up to date as well. So race 2 is the longer 40 lap race, I believe it is. There is a compulsory pit stop, so that means you must pit. The pit window, I believe, is between lap 10 and lap 35, lap 30 potentially, lap 10 and lap 30 I believe it is. So they must make the pit stop within that window. They can't make an early stop or a late stop and count as your compulsory stop. You're quite welcome to pit an extra time if you need to, but it won't count as your compulsory stop.
And this is where the strategy comes into it from a team aspect as well. When you've got 2 cars running at the same track at the same field, you've got double stacking. Then also it's a case of what kind of fuel load are you going to run, because going on the average fuel burn here at about 3 litres a lap, you're looking at about 120 litres required to go full race distance. So that's with a 112 litre race fuel tank, that's 8 litres short. So what kind of strategy do you go with the fuel load? Do you split straight down the middle? Do you run heavy to start and have a shorter fill at the back end, giving you fresher tyres and a shorter stop time for your fueling?
Well, we do know, for instance, that your pit stop time suffers if you go for a half and half fuel load. So that's something to watch as well. If some of our more rookie drivers, shall we say, go for a half and half strategy, they will spend longer in the pits overall, rather than somebody goes out with a full tank and only tops up to get to the end as well. So that's something to look out for as well, Troy.
Well, definitely. I mean, me personally, I'd be going with the heavier start load and the shorter stop at the end there, because not only does it give you a shorter stationary time to grab fuel, but also then you've got fresher tyres for that back end of the race.
Okay, I'm just checking in with race control to see how we're looking for race 2. So yeah, the reverse grid has been set. Everybody is ready to go. We've just had an accident there in warm up for the backfire car, which was leading. Just got a little bit bent out of shape coming down to turn 8. Turn 8 has claimed so many top drivers over the years, hasn't it?
Oh, it has, and it's one of those turns you sort of love to watch, but you almost want to close your eyes at the same time, because you don't know what's going to happen, and you know that if something does happen, it's not going to be pretty. I think it was Mark Scaife one year put his HRT Commodore into the wall quite heavily, that it actually moved the concrete barriers. I think it was something like about 6 feet, so it shows the strength of the impact.
Yeah, if you take that a little bit further, I believe it was 90 or 91, I think it was 1990 actually, he put the Nissan on its roof through turn 8, didn't he? And he was knocked out, I believe, as well.
can't remember quite back that far. I mean, we're going back when I was only 9 years old. I wasn't really watching supercars back then, but it's one of those turns that really gets the blood pumping. It's almost like the beginning of the chase at Mount Panorama.
Exactly, these are two tracks. I suppose in this day and age, nobody in their right mind would build a track with a corner like that, or in fact would be allowed to build a track with a corner like that. But that's something over the years that's been taken away from racing, I feel. Motorsport is dangerous. Go to any motor racing event, read the back of your ticket. It says motor racing is dangerous. It's out there. I believe that there's too many runoff areas, shall we say, these days. You need to sort the men from the boys, don't you?
Oh, definitely. And I wouldn't say, Turn 8 is something you won't see ever again, because you've got something very, very similar to it at the Homebush Street Circuit there in I think it's Turn 5.
Yes, you're right. Obviously, you're not going to get
a sweeping left-hander.
You're not going to get your FIA listing for the top tier of motorsport, which is unfortunate, but I do believe that there's too much cotton wool around the likes of Formula 1 drivers and stuff these days, whereas these guys get in and dice with the wall every day, don't they?
The guys that drive these V8 Supercars in the real life, they're a different breed. They really are. It takes a very certain skill set and a very big amount of balls to do what these guys do with 1,500 kilos of steel, small tyres, and a bucket load of torque.
And here we go, we're getting ready for race 2. Reverse grid is in place. So if we just go off, the stewards have just sent the grid through to me. Nick Winkler in first position from Darren Goosey in second, Roger Clark third, Johnny Fawns fourth, Backfire fifth, Ian Hannon sixth, Chris McCall seventh, Wayne Pengelly from SR eighth, Scott Bainsworth ninth, better starting position for Dan Ricard Pavel, this time in 10th position, Norman Clark 11th, Kai Turner 12th, David Kinnaman 13th, Rob Herbert 14th, and then the non-finishers of Kurt, if he makes it, which I don't think he will, Jason and Benjamin in 17th. So we should be ready to go in a minute. Just waiting on them to grid up. Yes.
And I love these reverse grid races, Steve, because it gives the guys that have been at the back end of the field a chance to sort of run up the front and put the elbows up and try and get these faster guys to get round them.
Okay, so we just have a slight issue with the lap number not changing, so the stewards are just dealing with that now. That should be a pretty quick resolution, to be honest, so we should be underway very shortly. Some of the cars are taking every opportunity to get out and test any setup changes or tweaks before the race starts.
And that's one thing that's very much different about this mod compared to the last mod, the 2012 mod, is the way that the car gets itself off the line. It's very different in the way the clutch releases. It's something that you do need to spend time working on and making sure that you get that right, because a good start is the key to a good race.
Definitely, it's good to see all of the cars out on track. Just had confirmation from the stewards, lap 10 and lap 30 is the pit window for the CPS, so that's lap 10 to lap 30. Not before and not after, or it doesn't count as your CPS, so getting ready to go, hopefully. Laps, still having an issue with laps on the grid. Okay, yes, so they're just having a little bit of an issue. guys, just stay with us. We will be up and running shortly. Yeah, so we should be going to the race hopefully any minute now. Yep, we have got 40 laps up on the books. I just need to check the grid. The grid should be getting set any moment now, and then we should be off and running very shortly.
And this can also be a little unsettling for the guys in the cars as well, because they're getting ready to go, they're getting the adrenaline ready, and they're there, they want to get the race out of the way and over and started, and then all of a sudden they're back in the pit garage. So this is now a case of these guys probably want to get out on track and get this thing started.
Yeah, it's such as the life in sim racing. We're not 100% perfect as yet, but we will get there. So just bear with us, guys. It won't be long, and there'll be action on track. And what a lot of action there will be as well. This is a reverse grid race, so the fastest guys are right pinged at the back, and it's on a street circuit as well. Troy, street circuits is notoriously difficult to pass on.
That's exactly right there, Steve. And Adelaide's no exception to the rule. I think we discussed it earlier, and I count 3 genuine places where you can actually make it pass and make it safely work, and which really does make it interesting for the faster guys coming through from the back end of the grid there. They're going to have to try and pick their times as to where they make their move, and hopefully don't get caught up in an incident that ruins their race, and unfortunately one of the other guys as well.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, Troy, so where are the passing places? Where are we looking for?
Basically, you're looking at look, you're out of turn 7 on the run down into 8. You want to get a good run out of there, which will give you a chance to be right underneath the rear wing of the car going into 8, but you want to be careful you're not too close, because these cars don't have a lot of aero, so it will cause the car to understeer through 8 if you're too close, which will then give you a good run into 9, and you want to sort of pull out late and just outbrake your opponent and your partner there and into 9. Realistically, the only other place is probably into the final turn there, where if you get a good run through and late brake again and take a better line through that turn and get the drive off the turn out of there, that's probably really the only 2 places you could do it, and maybe out of turn 3 on the run to 4.
Okay, so we should be getting set very shortly, I'm hoping.
Just filling a bit of time here, Steve. So obviously the European guys got things underway this morning with their first round of the season. Your perspective from a driver's point of view, and obviously you're the owner of the league and everything, how did you feel that first round went from your perspective?
Well, Troy, I was over the moon with the turnout. We had 13 drivers, which for a freshly launched European series was very good to see. We can rebuild on that hopefully. The driving quality throughout the field was amazing. Right from first down to 13th, everybody had a pace. They stuck to the pace, very clean, and made things very difficult, as I found myself when I had 2 incidents in both races and had to come from the back and couldn't get through the field as well as I wanted to. So it was excellent to see it. It was a bit of a boost for us me personally, to see our European night starting to take off as well. So well done to everyone who took part. Hopefully we'll be moving towards live coverage of that soon as well, once we can get that sorted out as well and get it to the level that this series is at, especially when they're both meeting up at the end of the season in the Brock Cup as well. It'll be interesting to see how the European guys fare against the Oceania guys.
And that's another thing too. It's just a case of the Brock Trophy. It's pretty much bragging rights too, as to which league, which championship's got the dominant drivers.
Totally, and that's the actual point of it as well. It's the original idea. We ran the Brock Trophy not long after Peter Brock passed away. Unfortunately, it was one of our V8 Supercars championship awards, and we decided to resurrect it as well. And it's come from my team mainly, SRT. Obviously, we've got the 4 drivers. They're 4 of the best drivers, obviously, as well. But I know Brett and Rob wanted to go head to head, but we can't have that in the 2 series. So bring both series together and see what happens, and that's what's happening at the end of the season. So keep an eye out for that. And if anybody's watching wants to take part, you've got plenty of time to get entered. So do let us know. Watch out on our website, www.Racing-Leagues.com.
And I do have a seat available in one of the DSA Commodores.
Yeah, exactly. So there's all abilities catered for within both series as well. So do feel free to join us. So all the cars are on the grid. There's a missing car there from the looks of it in 4th or 5th position. So we start from the pit lane.
And that's a strategy there, Steve. A lot of the faster guys couldn't choose to start with pit lane, which would give them some clean track to begin with, and then basically once the pit stops sort themselves out, with seeing them at the front of the grid without having to get involved in any paint exchange.
Okay, so we've all of our drivers are making their way right now. We're focusing down the back, unfortunately. We're going to do this slightly differently from everybody from normal races. We're going to go from the back with the cameras rather than the front. We'll let the front guys get away, and hopefully they get away cleanly. We want to watch where the Rob Herbert, Dave Kinnaman and Kai cars are coming through. I think that's where we'll see the best of the action. So stick with us, guys. It's going to break loose very shortly.
And that's exactly right. You're going to see a lot of passing because you're going to have the guys, as you say, like your Rob Herberts, your Kai Turners, and your Dan Ricards. They're going to be making a charge from the back end of the grid. And in saying that, but a lot of these guys that unfortunately don't have the pace too much up the front, they're still crafting races. I mean, you look at the likes of Ian Hannon, Roger Clark. If he can get his rhythm and stick to it and not go walkabout, he's one guy that we've got to watch out for.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, this is one of the highlights of each race weekend is the reverse grid race. It's important for these drivers not just to have outright pace skill, but they need to have the skill in traffic as well to be able to make up for the starting from the rear. So somebody you might have fought tooth and nail with in the first race will now be starting possibly in front of you in this race, so it can be a reverse position to try and get through.
And that's exactly right. And this, I'm sorry, I've got to go back to it again, Steve, but the reverse grid, I love the concept because it gives the slower guys a chance to feel what it's like to be up the front, and then we've also got the faster guys at the back that sometimes don't have to have a good racecraft because they're not got to overtake too many cars, whereas now they have to, and just to get that win.
Okay, so our should have been pole position car is starting from pit lane due to technical issues. So that's just come through from the stewards there. So actually, we'll keep a quick eye on Darren Goosey, who is in pole position. That's one of your drivers in the 005 DSA Holden Commodore. We'll just watch Darren off the start, and then we'll switch to the cars behind. So do bear with us. The lights are starting now, so the engine revs are rising, and we should go for race 2. And it's green, 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 and a great start there from Darren. He's straight off into the lead. It looks good, so we follow back down again into the Rob Herbert car. He split the Dave Kinnaman car. He's right up the back of the Kai Turner car, and Kai is trying to get down the inside of the Norman Clark car. A bit messy at the back on the first lap, but that's understandable. So he's our champion is already past 2 of the cars, Dave Kinnaman and Norman Clark, and is now attacking Kai Turner and the Vegemite car just in front as well on the way through. Oh, and there's been an accident. Yeah, that's unfortunate. One of the Vegemite cars. Which one was it there, Troy? I didn't see.
It's Dan Ricard Pavel, mate. Unfortunately, he's involved in another.
Oh, that's unlucky, yeah. It's this thing about the reverse grid, so you've got to take a slightly different technique. It's a little bit unfortunate, but if anything, the first race is anything to go by. If he gets back and running, he'll be coming through the field anyway. So Rob Herbert already up to 9th position, even with that incident.
That's an incredible drive.
Kai Turner's made it to 6th, he's the top of our leading racers. Dave Kinnaman is following up in 7th position. So two guys who know each other very well here is Dave Kinnaman and Rob Herbert. They work together in real life as well, drive for completely different teams. And Dave is now in front of Rob, and they're both nailed to the boot lid of the car in front.
Yeah, just looking at the replay here, Steve, on one monitors, it's missing between Wayne Kelly and Dan Ricciardo. It seems as though Dan's tried to maybe make a move up the inside of the turns late, and Wayne hasn't seen him and turned across, and that's all she wrote.
Okay, and we've got the Rob Herbert cars just gone around the outside. That's the outside of the Dave Kinnaman car, and got the inside for the next corner, and has made that move and has cleaned up that position, and is now setting off after the Kai Turner car. That's how the champions drive, mate.
That's exactly right, and as I say, Rob, he's really a class driver. He's someone that you really enjoy watching.
Okay, Troy, if you could try and up your mic volume a little bit. We've got some of the guys on Twitch telling us they can hardly hear you, unfortunately, so if you could just give it a little bit of a boost, that'd help.
We'll see what we can do about that one, mate.
Okay, mate, and we've got Rob Herbert already on the back of one of the other Nissans, now the GRC racing car of Ian Hannon. He's trying to make his way through. Darren Goosey is leading serenely at the front from Roger Clark. Scott Bainsworth in the other Vegemite Holden is now up to 3rd position. And I bet he'll be looking to make a move anytime shortly. He's 1.7 seconds behind the lead, but only 0.5 seconds behind the second place car.
Tell you what, Darren Goosey, being one of the guys that runs it back into the field, he's showing just a clean driving style here, and keeping out of trouble and just keep the car pointing straight.
Okay, so Rob Herbert's putting on a masterclass here in passing. He's down the inside of the GRC Nissan, but Ian's not going to let it go, and there's a little bit of rubbing. Dave Kinnaman's trying to take advantage on the outside. Rob's decided he's going to go around the outside. Doesn't matter which line he takes, he's going to go past, and he's gone past, and Kinnaman tried to go with him, but unfortunately didn't make it, and has to slot in behind his old team boss.
Behind that, Steve, instant behind that.
What's happened there, Troy? We didn't pick it up on the feed.
Johnny Fines appears to have been involved in an incident there following that turn.
Yeah, apologies, we didn't get that. We'll have to. Oh, and Dave Kinnaman straight into the wall of turn 8, very hard into the wall. But he looks like he's continuing on, so it'll be interesting to see how if there's any damage to that car. But there's a little bit of a lapse on the entry there.
Just looking at the Johnny Fond incident, it seems Chris McCall was just giving him a little bit of a tap in the rear end and sending him around.
Okay, so
the stewards have to say about that.
We've got a change for the lead. Roger Clark is now in the lead from Darren Goosey. Darren's led the first 2 laps. He's right up the back of Roger and looking to make a move, so I would assume he's made a little bit of a mistake somewhere. And the Vegemite Holden is stuck right on the back of the DSA Holden Commodore as well. So guys looking to get out front here. The Vegemite car takes Darren Goosey, and Darren Goosey's teammate is now up the rear end of him. Kai Turner, who's the first of our cars starting from the back, has made it the furthest up.
Yeah, and that's it, mate. It's doing exactly what we said it would, and that's giving us a hell of a lot of racing.
So we've got the Kai Turner car now looking for 2nd position. Scott Bainsworth, Vegemite Holden Commodore is holding him off, going into turn 8. Scott takes a bit of a wide line, grazes the wall a little bit, but he's got plenty of room to get into turn 9 before Kai. Roger Clark leading the way in the number 9 Oranga Racing Ford Falcon. And Darren Goosey's dropped down to 5th now. Rob Herbert from the rear of the grid. The race winner from race 1 is now up to 4th position. Kai Turner in front of him, so already heading towards the podium. Didn't take them long to get up there, 3 laps. Yeah, so 3 laps for the race winner from the first race to get from the back of the field all the way up into 4th position. He does have the 3rd place finisher from race 1, Kai Turner, right in front of him now. Just been told from the stewards that there is an incident involving car 91 and car 222, which will be looked at after the race. And a little bit out of shape there for the number 9 Rango Racing car, Roger Clark, in the lead. And the Vegemite car is trying to take advantage of it, but hasn't had the chance just yet. They're going to be very busy shortly as the top podium finishers from race 1 are on their way to the front. We've got Kai Turner leading the charge from Rob Herbert, who's trying to make a move now as well. And we've got the Vegemite car also looking around the outside to try and get into the lead and get away. He's now got closed right up to the back at some point 4 seconds back, and even less than that on this corner. So Roger Clark under pressure for the lead in the number 9 Rango Racing Ford Falcon. Kai Turner is holding off our current V8 Supercars champion and race winner from race 1, Rob Herbert, in 4th position. Things are going to change up here shortly, and Rob is trying to get a better entry onto the start-finish straight. And then we've got 5 laps in the book. Roger Clark in the lead from the Scott Bainsworth Vegemite Holden Commodore, and then the Team DSA Holden Commodore Kai Turner, followed by the reigning champion in the number 1 Jägermeister Nissan Altima. And this battle is closing up, and Roger Clark makes a mistake and toughs it into the outside wall. He loses first position. He's going to lose second position, but he holds it. Kai Turner has to go the hard way around, and he just closes in. He's around the outside of the curbs, and he's made the position. And Rob Herbert didn't make it through on that one, unfortunately, but he's got right up the back of the car in front now, and go down the final straight towards turn 8. We'll see if he's able to make the move. Yes, he's trying to make the move there, but there's no going through there. So out in the lead, Scott Bainsworth has pulled out to 1.392 second lead after initially being held up a little bit. So it looks like Rob Herbert's gone around the outside, believe it or not, of that corner. That's normally an impossible move, but Rob is our reigning V8 Supercars champion, and he's made that move work as well. So if we switch to the Scott Bainsworth car, well done to Scott for getting that car right up the front. He's shown some damn good pace. He's had to pit, actually. That's a bit unfortunate. Lap 6 was not a compulsory pit stop. Don't know what's happened there. Car 90 has been issued a drive-through penalty, so that was a drive-through penalty for causing an avoidable collision. That's come live from the steward, so that's what's happened to the Scott Bainsworth car, and he's now back out in 7th position, 5.3 seconds off the lead, so he hasn't lost too much. Apologies, I appear to have lost my co-commentator, so just stick with it. It's a bit difficult on your own to try and get everything out here.
Yeah, and I've just written out, Steve. Apologies, mate, but I've had a child that decided it was better to sleep on the floor in front of the window than in bed.
Excellent, well, glad you're back. We just had a drive-through penalty issued for the race-leading Vegemite Holden of Scott Bainsworth, which is a short pit lane here at Adelaide. He was able to do it from the lead and is back in 7th position behind Dave Kinnaman. So not too much of a disadvantage, a bit unfortunate, but as we do have the live race stewards, they make the call. So Scott's got his got it back behind the wheel and getting on with it again.
Yeah, not too much of a loss there, obviously. But
Dave Kinnaman to the pits. That's interesting. Don't know what's happened with the Dave Kinnaman car, but he is in the pits.
And is the pit window open, Steve?
No, the pit window is not open for another 3 laps, which Dave is well aware of. I discussed it with him before it, so I can only think that earlier on he whacked the outside of turn 8 quite hard, so potentially he's done some damage to the car or tyres, and he's had to take an early stop, which is really unfortunate because he's going to have to stop again.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. Obviously, he's the steering arm there, or he's got some kind of steering or suspension damage, and Adelaide's the kind of track that you can't have a broken car. It's got to be 100% on, otherwise you're not going to have any fun.
It's right on at the front, Troy. The DSA car is not just about holding off that number 1 Jägermeister Nissan, which is looking very aggressive on the exit of the corners and tried to get a run down the straight there, but wasn't able to make the move. And he's right back up again under the rear wing. He's pushing this for all he's worth. So from the back of the grid, Kai Turner and Rob Herbert 1 and 2. 2 awesome drives, but Kai's going to have his hands full holding off our reigning champion.
Yeah, he obviously is, and Rob's the kind of driver. He's almost like a pit bull, I guess you could say, and he sort of, once he gets you in his sights, he doesn't let go until you're behind him.
Yeah, exactly, and he's just backed off on the start-finish straight a little bit. He's setting them up again through the chicane. No real place to pass around there unless you want to end up in the fence. But he's just showing that Nissan large and larger in the rear wing and moving around a lot as well. He's trying to distract the driver in front as well, obviously, so there's a lot of psychology involved in this. And by somebody moving around a lot behind, it tends to distract the car in front. The driver tends to watch the rear mirror instead of what's going on in front.
Yeah, definitely, that's it, and that's one of the games you can play with the guy when you're chasing him down is fill up his mirrors, getting to start thinking about what's going on behind him, not what's in front of him, and then all of a sudden, before he knows it, the next corner's in front of him and he hasn't seen it, missed his braking marker, and he's in the runoff, and you're driving past.
Kai's driving very well the way of turn 8. He's making sure he's got enough of a gap that doesn't allow Rob to try and think about shoving it down the inside, so he's holding him off nicely at this stage, but there is only 8 laps in the books. There's a yellow flag in sector 1 from the looks of it. I can't see on my time screen what that is. Anything on yours, Troy? Scott Bainsworth is out actually.
I was about to say, here's Scott Bainsworth's out of the race, so
just got a replay now. He's up behind the Volvo. He's just coming right. Oh no, the Volvo's made a mistake and it's put Scott in the wall, tagged him on the way out. That's really unfortunate. There, Scott was driving very well. Very unfortunate. There must have been some serious terminal damage on that car.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing about Adelaide is it is the kind of track that when you hit something, it's usually hard and it hurts.
Yeah, okay, so the race leading battle looks like it's taking a little bit of a break, although having said that, the number 1 car's now got a better run out of turn 7 through turn 8. He's right up the back, he's looking to make a move, but the DSA Commodore is just that little bit in front, which prevents any thought of a move around that part of the track. So good driving there by Kai, and as always awesome driving by Rob as well. So we'll keep an eye on that one. So we'll just move back through the field a little bit and we'll pick up the second of the Vegemite racing cars, the 91 car of Dan Ricard Pavel, who's now up into 6th. A little bit of an incident early on which compromised him coming up through the field as well, but we've seen how good this guy is in the last race. He came all the way through from starting from the rear of the grid in the first 24 lap race, now up into 5th position, 15 seconds off the lead. So all being well, and if he keeps setting the sail the way he is, he should be up for a good finish on this one.
Yeah, clearly, it's just been an unfortunate situation for Dan. He's the guy that's been in the wrong place at the wrong time in both races, and it'll be interesting to see what happens once we can get him in some clear air.
Yeah, it definitely looks like he's got some good pace as well. So we've got Norman Clark, who started from the back as well, is already up to 6th position, driving cleanly. I'll bet that car will look like brand new by the time he's finished with it as well. It'll hardly have been run in.
Yeah, he's driving it very straight, and Norman, he's been one of the surprise packages pre-season. Didn't really do too much, just plodded along and obviously got himself to grips with the car, and then come out round 1 and all guns blazing. It's been an exceptional drive.
Okay, for our Vegemite racing fans out there, the incident involving car 33 Jason Cooper and car 90 Scott Bainsworth will be looked at after the race. Any penalties will be applied to the following race. To be fair though, it did look like a bit of a racing incident to me, Troy. The Volvo bounced off the outside wall and into the path of the blindsided Bainsworth car, so I don't think there'll be too much to worry about on that one after the race.
And that's the unfortunate situation of a street circuit, is if you're following a car closely, you're going to get caught up in any incident they have. If they bounce off a wall and you're right there, then you're bouncing off them.
Okay, so just taking a quick round up of where we are. We have Kai Turner in the lead in the DSA Home Commodore from our reigning champion in the number 1 Jägermeister Nissan Altima, Rob Herbert. Roger Clark has made his way back into 3rd place, taking along with him Ian Hannon in 4th. Dan Ricard Pavel from Vegemite Racing in 5th. Norman Clark in the 2nd of the Ranger Racing Ford Falcons in 6th. Darren Goosey, who started on pole, is down in 7th now in the 2nd of the DSA Holden Commodores. 8th position is the ever-improving Chris McCall in the 2nd of the Jandal Racing Volvos. Dave Kinnaman with that early stop, which we're not quite sure yet, we'll have to find out after the race, is in 9th position. Dave will obviously have to make another stop, unfortunately, to satisfy the compulsory pit stop requirements. Wayne Pengilly in 10th from ASR, and Jared Hatfield in 11th, Mark Farr in 12th, Johnny Fawns in 13th, Coyle in 14th, and Nick Winkler down in 15th, starting from the pit lane. Jason Cooper is in 16th, and our only DNF of the race, unfortunately, Scott Bainsworth in the number 90 Vegemite Holden Commodore.
Well, it's an unfortunate thing to see the Australian icon get in the garage early, but I tell you what, Steve, it's great to see the amount of cars that we've got out here turning out for round one. It just shows that this league can field a very big field, and come the Enduros, when the two combine, it's going to be exceptional to watch.
Yeah, the battle at the front hasn't shown any signs of slowing down whatsoever. There was it's going between 0.2 to an awesome 0.4 of a second gap at its worst. Rob Herbert is not letting off, and Kai is driving the race of his life to keep the number 1 car behind him.
Yeah, and that's one thing that we've all been surprised of with Kai, is his pace. Relatively newcomer, and being able to match it with champions of past and present. Okay,
so tell me, Troy, you're his team manager. Have you resolved the pit issue that we've seen on... oh, and down the inside goes Rob Herbert. No, and he gets closed off. He was definitely trying to make a move into the final corner. He lights up the rears on the way out there. Perhaps a little bit of frustration building in there, but he is looking to get past.
Yeah, definitely. I think Kai's done a fantastic job here. He's starting to get under Rob's skin, which Rob was trying to do the reverse. And yeah, in regards to the pit aspect, yeah, we spent some time this week mapping out pit stops and everything like that, and the boys seem to be pretty confident with where they need to be with their pit stops.
Okay, that's hopeful, yeah. So the issue we had in pre-season was Kai wasn't booking his pit stop in advance, which means it's a slower pit stop by up to 10 seconds it can be, and he was getting passed in the pits by the other cars, and at this stage of the race, while leading, he doesn't want any disadvantage anywhere if he hopes to keep that lead right through to the end. I definitely know the SRT boys are on it, so whenever Rob pits, that'll be the fastest possible pit stop unless something goes wrong. So Kai needs to match that as well to be able to keep this lead. But one thing we didn't mention, the pit window is now open. It's been open since lap 10. It will be open between lap 10 and close on lap 30, so you need to make a compulsory pit stop somewhere within those laps.
Now, just in regards to the team pit bay area, I have told the boys that if they can keep Kai's pit stop under about 15 seconds, I'll put a slab of beer on tonight.
Good man, that's the incentive they need, especially down here in Adelaide.
It's not exactly the hottest Adelaide day you'll get down here. Now, I do recall that I tried to get you to pony up a slab for your boys last week, Steve, and you said you'd go broke. I mean, it's only a slab, mate.
Well, mate, I'll be giving them a slab every day. At the rate they go, these guys are the top and the best they can be, so I'll be flat broke, mate.
It's a small price to pay to be at the top, I guess.
I don't know, well, Rob's new sponsor, he's got himself plenty of Jägermeister. I can't stand the stuff myself, and it's sort of banned within the garages because nobody can do anything after a few bottles of that.
No, a funny story about the old Jägermeister. Friends of mine, actually the owner of Drift School Australia, Fernando Well, he has a bell at his house, and if you ring it, next thing you know, his dad comes out with a tray full of Jägermeisters, and it's a pretty game man that rings that bell, because once they're out there, they don't stop, and there's not many people there standing.
Yeah, Troy, your mic's going just a tiny little bit again, just maybe take her down a bit. Apologies to everybody listening.
One day I might be able to get this microphone level right.
Okay, so we have a message from the race stewards. The pit window has been cancelled due to not being detailed in the pre-race events, but a compulsory pit stop is necessary, but not in any time frame. So no pit window, so anybody can pit anytime. Interestingly, the one person that's going to happen is our 7th place car of Dave Kinnaman, who pitted early. Yeah, so he's effectively got his compulsory pit stop out of the window.
Yeah, so it sort of is a bit of a free kick for Dave there, so if he can get the tyres to last to the end of the race and go from there, he should be come out of it relatively unscathed.
I must say I'm not a fan of rules changes on the fly. Not sure why this is happening. Every race should have that has a CPS should have a pit window. We need to get that nailed for the next event, because obviously Dave, for instance, this one would have been a perfect example. Dave was forced to pit early. If it had been a pit window, he would have had to pit again. But yeah, it is what it is.
Very much so, and fair play to the stewards for making that call. It's a gutsy one, but also admitting that they've made a mistake there. So, oh well, Dave gets a free kick out of it, and so be it.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things we need to nail these rules down and stick to them. There can't be any sort of room for manoeuvring outside of it. It's well known that in our series that when there is a compulsory pit stop, there is a pit window. So even though it wasn't mentioned explicitly in every single event, it should have been enforced, and the drivers should have liked it or lumped it. My preference is they should have lumped it, to be fair.
Very much so. But just having a quick look back through the field there, because you could watch the Fabulous Kai and Rob all day, but Ian Hammond and Dan Ricard, they're at it hammer and tongs just as hard as the two front runners.
We've got Dan on Twitch apologising for it. It's not your fault, Dan. I think everybody should we should just enforce it, but never mind. It's neither here nor there. The event is up and running. Are you gonna try and join us on the commentary at some stage?
Yeah, watching. Isn't he supposed to be doing some work today, Steve? And instead he's watching this.
He's
not a bad job, that.
He's away on business and he's catching as much of this as possible. So it'll be good to have Dan back in the car for the next round as well, especially with the amount of work he's put into getting this season up and running as well. So it's a shame he's out for the first round. But as we say, we've got the excitement of our premium members are able to select the next round as the double points round. So he'll be running for more than the normal in the next round.
Yeah, very much so. And you got to ask Dan, how's that right foot, mate? Is it just sitting there twitching, shaking, jumping around, wishing you're behind the wheel?
So we've got the Rob Herbert car who's saying no way around for the lead. So let's do a quick through the field. So Kai Turner, one of our pre-season surprises, quickly snapped up by yourselves and Team DSA in the lead.
There was an incident in the Turn 1 chicane. Norm Clark seems to have been involved in that one.
Okay, so we're just getting it on the replay now. So the two Araga Racing cars were almost together. Norman Clark was the second of those cars. Dave Kinnaman was coming up to the first chicane. Norman goes in, and yeah, he just spun it on the way in, and good moves. Oh, that is really unfortunate for Dave Kinnaman there. He looked like he had just cleared the incident by cutting the track, which I don't think any of the stewards would have said anything about that at that point. He was avoiding an accident, but he just backed off to rejoin the track and got caught a little bit as well. So that is really unfortunate there for Dave. As we've alluded to in the pre-season, when your luck's out, mate.
It's definitely a game of luck, and we saw it for Dan Ricard there, that he's been in the wrong place at the wrong time in both races, and now Dave Kinnaman, he's had his fair share of wrong place, wrong time in pre-season. It seems to have followed him in the race 2 of round 1.
Yeah, of course. So as we're going through our through the field, we've got Kai Turner from Rob Herbert, yet to make a pit stop. It would be interesting we get the pit stops. We're on lap 18 out of 40, so we're almost halfway there. So pit stops should be coming sooner rather than later, I would have thought. In third position, Ian Hannon is finally showing some decent pace, and welded to the back of that GRC Rizla Nissan is the Dan Ricard Pavel car in fourth, where it's been for most of the race, the Vegemite Racing remaining car. Trying to get away around, he's trying to get a good run onto the back straight from what we can see on camera here, but these guys have been together pretty much, and as we well know from old, Ian is not an easy car to get past at all.
And there appears to have been a pass for the lead. Rob's finally found his way past Kai there.
Okay, so let's see if we can pick it up. No, it doesn't seem to be showing up. Yeah, here we go. So we should have the replay now. So he's comes out of turn 7 and towing up down the back straight into turn 8. He's just kept nice and flat, both cars going through there. Looks like a normal line. It must be a pass into turn 9. Yes, it is. Oh, a little bit of a lag again for Kai from the looks of it there, and he's just lost the lead to Rob through that.
That's costly. I'll have to have a chat to his ISP, I think.
Absolutely, we've always had that problem with the number 1 car, to be fair, so it's nothing new to the series.
I was just about to say, you've had numerous dealings with ISP providers. Any tips on how I can get them to fix it up for me?
Well, we took the sledgehammer to it and Rob moved house.
Right.
So, how deep is the DSA coffers at this stage of the season?
Mate, I spent all my money on the paint job, so we've got nothing left.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, paint jobs there. A big shout out to Dan Stevens and Bruce Duncan for some of these paint jobs. They are looking phenomenal on these new cars as well. So it's good to see. Well done, guys.
Yeah, and Duncan also, another one that's spent some time with these two guys have turned out some sensational cars for this season.
You know what, I'm impressed here. I thought if Rob Herbert had gone past Kai, he would have pulled away. He looked like he had a lot more pace. However, the reverse is true. Kai is now stuck under the Caterpillar rear wing on that Jägermeister #1 Nissan Altima. And he's not letting this one go.
No, he's not. He's definitely driving a very, very good race. But also, I think Rob probably used up a lot of his tyre too in trying to get around Kai. You noticed that a lot there that Rob was really spinning up the rears trying to get drives to get a run on him, and I think that's probably hurt him in this stint.
Yeah, it's the sheer physical size of these Nissans as well. They look huge. They actually look more physically imposing as well. So it's it was wagging around a bit at the rear, trying to get past there as well. So you might be right. It might have done a bit of tyre damage. But having said that, he's pulled out a little bit of a couple of car lengths on this lap. Now coming into the start-finish straight.
Yeah, you can see that Kai's overdriving the car a little bit loose out of turn 6 there into the turn 6-7 shoot.
Okay, so Race Control have just posted they've got incident involving Dave Kinnaman and Norman Clark is under investigation. That's from Race Control.
Yeah, I had a look at the replay. It did appear that that Dave might have put his nose somewhere it wasn't wanted.
Yeah, from what I'm gathering on the Race Chat channel is that Dave is less than pleased, so I'm not quite sure what he's unhappy about there. Norman spun off on his own. Dave had the opportunity to keep the foot in and stay to the right, cut the track albeit, but you're avoiding an accident, so I don't think there's any stewards that are going to pull you up too much on that. But yeah, and then he slowed down and got caught by the returning Norman, so little bit unlucky. I mean, we've alluded to this all pre-season. When you looks down, you looks down. You just don't seem to get a break if something goes wrong. In the series at the minute, it's that close.
And that's the thing, because the series is so close, when you're out of luck, you're almost at the back end of the grid. And Rob Herbert into the pits.
So #1 car blinks first, and Kai has learned his lesson clearly from last week. He didn't follow him in, so he's going to book his stop. Let's see what kind of stop this is. The car's up on the jacks now. It's gone back down again, so all 4 tyres changed. There is a fuel stop as well from the looks of it, so yeah, he is getting fuel put in. This is a little bit longer than I would have liked, I would have thought on that one, but he's off and running again. So let's see, do DSA try and react and avoid the undercut, or what's in your head? You're the team manager, Troy.
Well, I can tell you exactly what's in my head. That'd be giving away my secret, wouldn't it? Now, Steve.
A little bit of help, come on. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, here's the problem. He's ranging up on his teammate in front of him as well, so obviously that's not going to slow him down too much, hopefully. Herbert's going to come out, he's going to be fast on these new tyres. You've got to cover off the undercut, surely.
Yeah, that's one thing we had to look at, but I also had a chat with Kai and we had a look at fresher tyres to the back end of the race as well.
Oh, Troy's had it. Oh no, Troy, that's a bit of unlucky there for your team cars.
Hard mouth.
That's an underpants change. Will be requested. He's off again. It's completely unsettled. Oh, it's really unsettled him. That's not good at all. He should have. And the other DSA cars in the pits, Troy, you're the team manager. What's going on? Kai should have been in there, surely.
No. We've split the fuel load between the two cars. One's gone heavy and one's gone down the middle.
I tell you what, and I'm the SRT team manager, and plenty of experience in this. As soon as I seen the other car going and my car ranging up on a team car, I'd have been throwing it into the pits. I think you've missed a trick here, Troy.
Yeah, but I'm looking at tyre life at the back end because we saw how much pressure Kai was putting on Rob there, and I think with some fresher tyres, he'll be able to fight that little bit harder for that little bit longer against him.
Yeah, but you're up against the current champion, and we know what he does with tyres. They stay on there forever. You gotta race the driver in the car as well.
Yeah, we do. Look, this is something we're going to try out, and this is look we're a very new team. This is our first season in a championship, and things we'll learn. And obviously, with a new driver as well, we've got to try and learn where his strengths and weaknesses are, and hopefully this plays into our advantage, and we have the shorter stop in the fuel side of it and fresher rubber to drive through at the end.
Yeah, I'll tell you what though, I will give Kai a big shout out. He has improved enormously in the few events that he's gone on, and obviously joining the DSA team as well has helped him get a little bit ground as well. The mistakes. One thing I've noticed, and I will point out there. Oh, we've got the Vegemite cars had a little bit of an off there. Got caught up in the curb, got beached, and it slid straight off. But he's lost a little bit of places. He's in third position. We've got from the race stewards drive-through penalty, car 55 causing an unavoidable collision with car 10. Car 55, Dave Kinnaman, drive-through penalty.
Oh jeez, and he's been quick onto that and he's served it straight away. But I can definitely see a Greg Murphy style of steam coming out of that Falcon, and I think Dave's a very happy camper.
So long as we don't have the Greg Murphy style 5-minute toilet, and he's come back out just in front of the car that he was sanctioned for as well, the Norman Clark car in the 10.
And Wayne Pengelly has put it into the fence just at turn 4 there.
Yeah, let's see if we can get the replay there.
Kinnaman's nearly collected him.
So yeah, we're just watching the Wayne Pengelly car now coming around the Kmart Racing. Holden Commodore is making its way up towards the top end of the circuit. Oh yeah, and he's just put it straight in the wall, so Dave Kinnaman should be the next car along. Oh, was that our race leader that almost collected it as well?
Kai Turner into the pits now. It was Darren Goosey, I believe.
Oh, okay, yeah, and I see Dave Kinnaman, and he's had to slot in behind it as well, so that's a little bit unfortunate there as well. Yeah, it's going back to that, so long as it's not the Greg Murphy 5-minute toilet, I think Dave should be alright. He's not going to get past here. Oh, he did. Yeah, we did. That was a pretty impressive move. There's an angry driver, and he's going to make his pit stop now as well. So, even though he made the lap 7 was a Troy pit stop, he feels the need to make a second stop anyway as well. So that other stop was out of sequence, I believe.
This appears like it's another drive-through. He must have been done for speeding in pit lane.
Oh,
Steve.
He took the words right out of my mouth. That's unfortunate. I was before all of this happened as well. I was gonna give Dave a bit of defence for, you know, if you are getting upset on the race channel or angry as well, as some of our viewers might realise just how much work goes into getting this pace out of one of these cars as well. You can't just turn up and race. You can if you wish, but you'll find yourself right down the back wondering why these guys are lapping you every other lap. Dave's put a hell of a lot of work into this. He's driven well. He dominated here in pre-season as well, so he's lost a little bit of pace. And it must be playing on his mind a little bit as well. And as we say, once one thing goes wrong, it snowballs from there, and it's been that way through pre-season, and it's showing itself in the race as well. So I know Dave's upset, and it's unfortunate, but it's head down and get the points, mate. It's round 1.
Well, that's exactly right. It's early in the season. Just consolidate now and focus on the back end of the championship.
Okay, Troy, so do I get the I told you so award of the week?
How many laps you got left, Steve?
First to third, there's 13 seconds. First to second, there's 13 seconds between them. Undercut.
Yeah, you may have got a slight undercut, but we've got the fresher rubber, and I love the way Kai drives when he's a man on a mission too. So there could be an interesting finish.
I'll throw it out there. He doesn't got a hope in hell of getting anywhere near this #1 car, and I'll eat this steering wheel afterwards if he does. So you've heard it live on Twitch.
And how you like your steering wheel, Steve? Medium rare?
I don't have to bother about it because it'll still be here uneaten at the end.
Oh, I'd be careful because Kai's thrown in the fastest 2 sectors on this lap already.
He's got to get 13 seconds back in 14 laps, mate. He's got to go a lap faster than our current champion and get past him on track. So, best of luck with that. He'd probably have better luck trying to solve the Rubik's Cube.
They're not that hard, are they? But I tell you what, it'll play for some fantastic viewing.
Yeah, you and me struggle with the Rubik's Cube, though, don't we?
Yeah, I'm just a simple truck driver, mate, but...
I believe it's illegal to take the stickers off and put them back on, which I was unaware of, so I haven't solved any of them, despite finishing a few of them.
I never saw that in the rulebook, did you?
I didn't, so that's why I just kept it going. So, right, back to our leading battle. So 12.7 seconds back is Kai Turner from Rob Herbert. Wayne Pengelly is made his way up to 3rd position, but he is yet to serve as CPS, so that's a little bit out of position. Mr. Kinnemund is in 4th position, having served 2 drive-throughs and his pit stop, so you know what, that's a good recovery. I know he's going to be upset afterwards, but mate, you're up in 4th, it will be 3rd shortly. You just got to keep it together, haven't you?
Most definitely, and if you let something like that get you in your head, you're going to lose points hand over fist. And in this championship, consistency and consistent bag of points is what's going to get you there at the end of the day.
Yes, it's consistency wins championships, as we know. Dave is running for the championship genuinely this year as well, which is good to see. He's going to be thereabouts. His teammates missing this weekend as well, and we've noticed that when there's only one of these 555 cars out on track, they seem to suffer as a team. The cars just aren't as fast when they're on their own. Would that be fair, Troy?
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Steve, and it's the same with the real life guys as well. I mean, you look at FPR after that massive incident with Chas Mostert at Bathurst. Mark Winterbottom just never seemed to have that pace or that dominance through that back half of the season. It was basically just accumulating points and not actually dominating points because he didn't have his teammate there to help.
So that's
help him out.
So again, as we've alluded to several times during the race, there's a lot of psychology involved in this. This is sim racing, and a lot of people might look at this and say people are just playing a game. You're not playing a game. There is a lot that goes into this. There's setup of the cars, individual driving styles, controller setups, game setups. Then there's understanding the track, getting the right lines, getting the rubber down. And when you've got a teammate, you accelerate that process all the way through. It's 2 people doing the same amount of work in half the time, so therefore it speeds up the whole team as well. So yeah, so being without your teammate there, as well as you said, they're pushing each other along as well. I mean, the first person I look for in the timesheets is my nearest teammate. I'm not looking at anybody else, I'm looking at them going, did I beat them? Did I get close enough? Am I happy?
Well, that's exactly right, and your teammates is your nearest yardstick, and that's the person that you gave
huge crash. The number 7 GRC Rizla car was rolled over there. The Vegemite car was right under the bottom of it. Let's see if we can see what actually happened. Yeah, don't seem to have that on the replay available to me, unfortunately.
I've got it here in front of me, and it seems to be one of the back markers. Hatfield seems to have just put himself in an awkward position there, and I think Ian's made contact and they've spun, and then the Vegemite car there, Dan Havel's just cleaned everyone up.
Yeah, so we go back to do a quick run down the field. In first position we have Rob Herbert, the number 1 Jägermeister Nissan Altima from SRT. In second position now, 9.6 seconds behind, we have Kai Turner in the leading DSA Holden Commodore. Dave Kinnaman 40 seconds back in third position in the 55 Racing Shell Helix Ford Falcon. Try saying that with a mouthful of beer. And then in fourth position we have Dan Ricard Pavel, the remaining Vegemite Racing car, in fourth position after getting past Ian Hannon with that little incident that Ian got involved in. Fifth position Ian Hannon. Sixth position was Chris McCall car, but I believe he's just lost position or he's out of the race, I'm not quite sure. And then we have Backfire in seventh, Dude change your name. And then eighth we have the lead ASR car, as we had some technical difficulties with the second of the ASR cars, which wasn't able to start the races. Such a shame there. So Wim Pengelly in 8th position, from Norman Clark in 9th. Been at that big incident with the Dave Kinnaman car, but Norm just hasn't had the pace he did in the first race in this longer race. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I think Norman's might have struggled with stuff where I think he's found himself in the wrong place at the wrong time as well, and been collected by a few cars as well.
Yeah, he just doesn't seem to be. I don't know. I haven't seen the lap times in comparison to the first race, but he just doesn't seem to have the pace in that car. So, not sure whether this longer race just doesn't really suit Norm's style, or whether he. To be honest, I would have thought it would have been the opposite. But he was up towards 5th, 6th earlier on in the event, so I know the spin caused him a few problems, but he just hasn't been able to get back up there.
Yeah, it could be a case of his rhythm. He hasn't been able to refine that after a couple of incidences, but look, Norm's a trooper. He'll be there next week, or next round, and he'll probably find that he'll be up there or thereabouts again.
Yeah, we've got Roger Clark out of the race as well earlier on. I believe that's one of the issues with this tough sort of street circuits as well. He's suffering from some cramps, I believe, so it takes a lot out of the drivers. As we say, we know it's sim racing, but try holding one of these wheels for 60 or 70 laps around somewhere like this and you'll say no about it.
Oh, definitely, and me being a professional driver myself for my occupation, I still find that I get some sore leg there because of the amount of consistent repetition and pressure that we're on. And you know what, that's just interesting, because we know that in the real life supercars there's a lot of guys that suffer with lack of match fitness come round one of their season, and we've had Roger Clark suffer the same fate.
Yeah, we did see Alex Premat getting pulled out of the car on the Gold Coast, didn't we, a couple of seasons ago, and in fact he wasn't even able to race the second day, which gave Scott McLaughlin his introduction to V8 Supercars. But it is a very physical sport. It is just sim racing, as we say, but a lot of these people are running some pedals which require a very heavy load, some steering wheels which require a proper wrestle to get them round as well, so you do get some of the forces, and it can take its toll on you, especially in the longer races.
Oh, definitely, Steve, definitely. And I mean, I found personally that during the off-season, when I stopped racing the supercars, I actually found that fitness-wise, I actually started putting on a little bit of weight, because I just didn't have that physical exertion where I was just constantly driving a supercar and fighting with the steering wheel and pedals and dancing across them.
Yeah, so talk to us about Darren Goosey. Obviously he's the other driver in the DSA team. Started in pole position, looked handsomely leading for 2 laps until Roger Clark passed him for the lead. But he's dropped like a stone since then. He's down in 11th position. What's happening here?
I think Darren's just running his own race, plodding along, and yeah, probably the faster guy's catching up, and he's a very polite racer in that respect. He'll slow right down and move to one side and let everyone past him. But in saying that, he's only just outside the 10, so he's definitely doing a great job for us.
Ooh, we've got a drive-through penalty just been issued for car 91 causing an avoidable collision. Car 91, I believe, is the Vegemite racing car of Dan Ricard Pavel. So unfortunately both the Vegemite cars have fallen foul of the stewards in this event. a little bit unlucky, to be fair. I think he's come round into an accident that was potentially already happening, and it's one of those areas where if there's no way through, there's no way through. But if you're deemed to not have given yourself sufficient time to slow down or stop, or not seen it enough, you can fall foul of the stewards, which looks like it's probably happened here.
Yeah, I've definitely got to agree with you on that one, Steve. I think it's a bit harsh. He's come around the corner, and next thing you know, there's two cars in front of him that have come together and had their incident, and he's just an innocent bystander.
Yeah, obviously we're assuming that that's what the penalty is actually for. It could be for something we haven't caught off camera, so yeah, it's just come from the stewards. He was too fast on entry with the accident there. Yeah, they've deemed that there's plenty of visibility on the entry to that corner. Yeah, I mean we're obviously just watching on the TV, so we don't have the full replays available to us that the stewards do as well. So they've assessed that. It's taken quite a few laps for them to come out with that penalty. So I assume they've mulled it over and decided the appropriate action. So it is what it is.
And look, these guys have got a tough job as it is, and so have the drivers. And look, there's going to be times where no one agrees, and I think you'll find that's pretty much every decision that gets made.
Yeah, there's always someone's going to disagree with it. So we've got Dan Ricard-Pavel serving his drive-through penalty right now, so he should be able to hold off the 5th place car and keep his 4th place. So at the end of the day, it didn't cost him too much.
No, all it's done is just suffer his average lap speed, and that's about it, really.
Okay, so let's go from the back to the front. So we've got Johnny Fons in 15th position. He's made 2 pit stops. Fastest lap's been a 1:21.874. Not too shabby considering the outright bestest laps of 1:19.5. But if you discount the aliens, you're looking around 1:20.4. So it's not too far off the pace. Probably unlucky he's had to make the 2 stops. In 14th position, one of our other newcomers in the 15 Jack Daniels Racing Nissan Coyle. His best lap was a 1:23.962, so a little bit off the pace, just made the 1 stop in 14th position. Nick Winkler, who should have started on pole position but had technical difficulties in the Merc, is in 13th position, best lap 1:23.5. Jared Hatfield in 12th position in what looks like another Mercedes. Yeah, good to see the Merc's on track. And he's ran a 1:22.277 as his fastest lap, made 2 stops and in 12th position, so not too shabby a showing. And then we come to 11th position, Darren Goosey. Darren's ran a 1:21.868, so he's pretty thereabouts in pace as well. Not quite sure why he's dropped as far down as he has. He's over 2 minutes off the lead, 2 minutes 30 seconds and 1 lap down, so 1 pit stop as well, so it's a little bit unfortunate to see Darren going backwards as much as that. Backfire in 9th position, won't talk about somebody who doesn't have a real name, so passing on to Jason Cooper in 9th position. Jason's ran a 1:20.8. Troy, talk to me about Jason. He's shown plenty of pace. I would summarise that he missed the pre-season and it's costing him now.
Definitely. You can't. There's a saying that goes, you can't make up for a good pre-season if you don't participate. And pre-season's where you're going to iron out your bugs, get a grip on the car, find out any quirks the car's got, and find out what you want from the car and how to get it. And I think by missing those 4 races, it's really hurt him. And so he's going to take a long time to get up to speed with the rest of the field.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's going to take a long time. To be fair, he's shown he's got the outright pace, 1:20.8 in this race, his fastest lap. But as we were discussing there, Troy, it's just the match fitness, isn't it? You miss the events for whatever reason. That's fine, but it's definitely showing through here now, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's definitely showing through, and when I say it's going to take him a long time, and you've got to think these other guys have got 4 rounds head start on him, so 4 rounds in this championship, that's pretty much half the championship done and dusted, so in that term, yeah, it's a long time to get started.
Okay, so 4 laps to go. Rob Herbert leading serenely from Kai Turner in 2nd. Again, I'll be collecting my I Told You So award, and my steering wheel will remain uneaten at the end of this event.
Here we go.
Yes, but bit of a bad exit off that chicane and clipped the wall a little bit there for Rob, so perhaps I'll shut up about eating my steering wheel just for a little bit longer. It might still have to chew on it. And
yeah, well, he's in traffic at the moment, so anything can happen. But nah, Ian, the ultimate professional leader, sidestep to the left.
Well, I was going to say, if I have to chew on my steering wheel, I'll be chewing on Rob afterwards as well.
Well, that would be a pretty tough meal. I've seen Rob, and you don't look like no small guy.
That's a chance, no, but I'm going to have to tackle it.
You're on your own with that one, son.
Ah, the joys of team boss, eh? You've got to keep them together.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, look, you and me, we can sit here, we can have a laugh, we can have a banter, and at the end of the day, these guys are giving us the joy that we call racing, and to be able to mentor these guys and talk to them throughout the race, it's keep them focused. It's been great fun.
Yeah, and I will call out Dave again. He's up to third position, stayed in third rather. He looks like he's got his focus back and he's just getting on with it now as well. Third's a decent haul of points as well, so glad to see that he's put those drive-throughs behind him and got on with it. A lot of us, me included, wouldn't deal with the drive-throughs so well, and it tends to show when you're driving for the next few laps when you end up driving like a wally and find every wall that's available. So Dave's done very well to keep a lid on it, get his emotions together and get back on.
And that's the sign of a good driver, is don't let anything phase you, just eyes forward, concentrate on what's in front of you, not what's behind you.
So in fourth position we've got the Vegemite racing car of Dan Rickard Pebble, and as we've mentioned several times during the broadcast, we're going to be keeping an eye on these guys during the season. We haven't seen anything really of them in pre-season. They've turned up here and they're on a half decent pace together. Scott Bainsworth as well, a bit unfortunate he's out, but Dan really, I believe, was the star of race one. It was Dan, wasn't it, that came from the back, or was it Scott?
No, you're right there, Steve. It was Dan, and unfortunately he's had himself involved in some incidences again in this race. So it'll be great. It'll be interesting to see what kind of a race Dan can have when he's not interrupted by unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah, and it's good to see new team, two very fast drivers right up there as well, and we've got a returning team. It's been several years since ASR have taken to the track. And almost an incident right in front of Wayne Pengelly there. Unfortunately, the second car is out.
Yeah, Chris McCall straight into the window in the wall there, Steve.
It's unfortunate. I tell you, we've seen a few incidents with the Volvo as well late in the races. Is there something unique to this to the Volvo's handling, or is it just, you know, too many beans on the right foot?
It's hard to say. It could be a combination of too many beans, or it could just be a case of fatigue setting in on the driver as well.
It has been a long, tough round as well. So we're on the final lap of the first event of the 2016 Oceania Racing-Leagues.com V8 Supercars series, and our race winner, Rob Herbert, and the reigning champion, is making his way around to collect the spoils for race 2 as well in the #1 Jägermeister Nissan Altima from SRT. Rob's keen to not let that #1 disappear off the car, and we've seen he's had a few challenges today, but the one person who remains on the track seems to be Rob. So it's been a good round all round, but I tell you what, we've got something to look forward to for the rest of the season, Troy. There are some people out there, Kurt, who dominated the first round, Kai, who was pretty fast and dominated the section that he was in as well in the lead. We've got some guys challenging this year, haven't we?
Yeah, it's going to be one hell of a season, mate. I tell you what, we've got guys coming from every which way to really make challenge at Rob.
So Rob's doing a burnout on the back straight now, celebrating that. I know he's going to be delighted with that, especially with the amount of challenges he had. Congratulations to Troy as well, to Kai as well, and to Troy as team owner. I believe that's your first 2 official podiums and you've got them in the first 2 rounds, so well done.
Yeah, mate, that's 4 races for 3 podiums, because I took my first ever V8 Supercar podium in the Euro League for, say, this morning, and then Kai backs up with a 3rd and a 2nd.
Of course, that's true, yeah, so it's been an awesome weekend for the team, hasn't it? You're not too far away from the outright pace as well, so good to see, and congratulations. So Dave Kinnaman has just gone to do a bit of a warm-up spin as well and has took out Rob Herbert. So well done to everybody. That is the race finish. So we've got the final finish order is Rob Herbert from SRT Nissan Altima, a reigning champion in first position, 2 race wins from 2. Kai Turner second position from 3rd in race 1 from Team DSA. Dave Kinnaman in 3rd from 2nd in race 1. In the 55 Shell Helix Ford Falcon, Dan Ricard Pavel, one of the guys to watch for future from Vegemite Racing in 4th. Wim Pengeli, again another one to watch from Team ASR up into 5th. Ian Hannon in 6th. Norman Clark in 7th. Jason Cooper 8th with a few incidents. Backfire again, I'm not going to talk about you because I don't know your name. In 9th, Darren Goosey in 10th, Nick Winkler in 11th, Jared Hatfield 12th, Chris McCall in 13th, and 14th and 15th were our 2 non-finish, were Coyle and Johnny Fons in 15th, 16th and 17th the 2 DNFs of Roger Clark and unfortunate Scott Bainsworth. So well done to everybody. Stay with us, we'll get the top 3 down for the post-race interview, and we'll see how everybody is. So just stay with us 1 second.
User was moved to your channel. User was moved to your channel. User was moved to your channel.
Well, welcome to the top 3, to the post-race interviews, and it seems to be the same top 3. So you guys, we should give you a seat in the commentary box. Well done, Rob, 2 out of 2. Kai, well done on 2nd, and Dave bringing it up in 3rd. So to you first, Rob. There were many challengers, but there was only one winner.
Oh, that was a great race. Good work, Kai. That was impossible to pass him until a bit of a weird little glitch in the matrix happened. But that was an awesome race. It was made up a lot of positions quite early on. Quite fortunate. It was got a bit pretty sketchy in those first few laps with a few people. But it's the way it is with the reverse grid. It could have been a lot more messy.
Yeah, well done. And Kai, congratulations, 2nd place, 2 podiums for the first 2 races. Looks good for championship points. You had the lead there for quite a bit of the race, and me and Troy had a good old argument in the comms box about when you should have gone into the pits and avoided the overlap, but it wasn't to be. So well done anyway. But so was your pit stop actually a little bit slow, or was it just too late?
Yeah, well, unfortunately I've stuffed up and made a few errors as I was coming in, the lap I was coming into pit, so that put a few seconds onto it. But yeah, unfortunately that happened, but move on next week.
Yeah, well done. Dave in 3rd. Had a few issues obviously, a couple of drive-throughs as well. We didn't quite catch it all on the replay, we sort of caught the end of it, so that was a bit unfortunate. So from your perspective, how was that?
Well, the race itself wasn't too bad. Very glad to consolidate 3rd place. Decided to pit early because I'm not the best at ploughing through the field in reverse grid, as highlighted by the fact I missed my braking marker when right up Norman Clark's Jaxie. Unfortunately made contact with him. I redressed and let him back past, and then spent another 5 laps trying to pass him again, and then I got a drive through still, so I've got no arguments I was in the wrong. I just need to figure out in a week what my best response is in that situation. Do I not redress and drive on, or I'll figure it out in a week. And as for 2 drive-throughs, I sped in the pit lane on my initial drive-through. My speed limiter button, I must have hit the wrong one.
Yeah, we figured that the second one was a reaction to the first one. Yeah, you make an interesting point there as to if you did make the redress, why did you then get a drive-through penalty? So yeah, that's something that will clearly need clarified from the stewards for everybody else going forward as to what the actual process is. But yeah, it seems a bit unfair that you got hit twice, to be fair.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not having a big complaint. I think that I might have been closer to Kai, but I don't think that I would have been able to catch him, so my end position hasn't changed. I think it's just good to get clarification for everyone else as well going forward.
Yeah, that's true. Troy, have you got anything?
Rob, mate, obviously you've shown a pair of heels again today. Obviously, race 1, you had Kurt there that really pushed you to your limits, and obviously in race 2, you had one of my guys there, Kai, push you to limits. Do you feel that the pressure's on now for you to really hold that number 1, or what's the situation for you?
Yeah, it's great to have some new blood coming in, giving everyone a run for their money and shuffling up the order. It's really good. I'm still really confident in my strategy, overall strategies during the race. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, I guess you can light up the timing screens all week in the run up to a race, but in the end, it's all about what you do in the 40 minutes or the hour or whatever you're on track. So it's just all about prep, and I'm still feeling pretty confident. But yeah, it's actually really exciting for me to have some new blood and some quick guys to keep it really, really interesting. I'm sure everyone else is excited too who's watching.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, everybody, well done, and thanks very much for your time, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks. So congratulations, well done.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
User was moved out of your channel. User was moved out of your channel. User was moved out of your channel.
So if we just sum that up, Troy, see if we can get hold of one of the stewards as well.
Buddy was
Yeah,
moved
you
to your
usually see
channel.
their take on the Dave Kinnaman situation there.
Yeah, hi Bruce, we've got you. You with us there?
Hi, Steve.
Yeah, we're just following up on the Dave Kinnaman penalty there. Obviously, he's a little bit upset about it. We're sort of he's looking for a bit of clarification around. He did redress and then got a drive-through, so he assumes he was punished twice. What's your take on it, or what's the explanation, or do we have to wait till next week to it's all clarified?
Well, 99% of the time, the vehicle behind is always the one that's got to watch out what it's doing with regards to the car in front. Now, Dave could have missed his braking point. These things happen. But he hit Norman, I think, about 2 or 3 times in the process of that. Now, also in doing so, I believe there was another car involved who, just no fault of his own, was hit into Norman. Now, if David hadn't have actually hit Norman, then that third car wouldn't have actually been involved in any form of damage or anything.
Okay, so I see what you're saying is if it's an accidental hit once specifically, say for example if it's an accidental hit once and you cause an instant redress, you're good to go, but the fact that there was potentially more than 1 or 2 hits and the end result was a little bit more than just one driver being affected, that's what triggered the drive-through as well. Would that be fair?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, that makes sense to us now as well. So, yeah, so well done to the steward and team. I believe Brett's just joined us as well, so that was a difficult first round to say the least. Well done, guys, and thanks very much for looking after it.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. So, summing up, Troy. Awesome first race. We had a lot of viewers on Twitch as well. I believe we were up to 16 or 17 at one point and stayed steady around 13 or 14, so it's good to see. We had lots of questions. It appears we've got a lot of Vegemite fans, so we'll keep an eye on that team throughout the season.
Yeah, most definitely, Steve. I mean, it's going to be one hell of a season if we can get that kind of field week in, week out, and considering we had a few guys that sat this round out, it's going to be a cracker season, Steve, and we've got a lot of action all over the track, not just at the pointy end.
Excellent, everybody. So that's a wrap, and join us in 2 weeks' time for round 2. We leave this round with Rob Herbert, our reigning champion, with the championship lead following 2 race wins, but he's closely followed by some of the other newer drivers as well. So do stay tuned for the next one in 2 weeks' time, and we'll see you there. Thank you, everybody.